There are the 5 panelists. So I think 15 minutes is generally given for each panelist. Then there will be a discussion by the chair and co-chair. So there is a suggestion from the chair. We have the precedence. We have the tradition to introduce the speakers, because we know that the majority of the people are aware about all these distinguished geographer of the country. But some of the people, maybe some of the new geographers, the budding geographer, maybe not be aware. So quickly, within 5 minutes, I will just introduce the panelist, today's panelist of this panel discussion. So chair of this session is the Professor H.S. Sharma. He's a senior geographer with long established career spanning over 40 years. Professor Sharma is a former professor and head Department of Geography, University of Rajasthan, Jaipur. And even he was director of Indira Gandhi Center for Human Ecology, Environment and Population Studies, academic staff. He was director of academic staff college and dean faculty of science, University of Rajasthan. He has an extensive research work in terms of the research paper, then books and edited books. He has supervised more than 3 dozen PhDs. So, and he has been associated. Looking to his contribution to the geography, he has been acknowledged by all the major institutes of the country, like IGI, NAGI, and so on. He also awardee of some of the very prestigious awards like UGC Career Award, Rajasthan Gaurav Award. Then the important award has been conferred to the Professor H.S. Sharma, is the Bhugol Achaspati Award by NAGI. And he traveled extensively all over the world under the exchange program and attending the international conference. This is I just try to give a little bit information. If you go to each and every the contributors or distinguished professor, it's very difficult to cover the things, complete the things. So I'll quickly go through another panelist. So he was in our department. Department of Geography, Savitribai Phule Pune University. He was a professor here. His specialization is geomorphology, and he has extensively worked in the part of the Maharashtra and some part of the country also, and strengthened the geomorphology branch in the department and in Maharashtra. He is one of the pioneers in department for starting the remote sensing and quantitative geography. He has guided number of students. Then he has done number of publications, research projects, and so on. Coming to the point of view, he has right from the beginning he has been associated with the IIG. He was the president of the IIG, and he has worked very, meticulously as editor of the IIG journal. Whatever today's IIG journal, what we call very proudly in the UGC list and Scopus and so on, this foundation is laid by the Professor S.R. Zo. And even he has been worked very meticulously for whatever the administrative responsibilities given to him whenever he was in college and you were in the, later on in the universities of our department. So next, Rana P.P. Singh, professor, as I mentioned, from the Department of Geography, Institute of Science, Banaras Hindu University, Varanasi. His specialization is cultural landscape and heritage studies. Again, sir have given me the brief biodata, but he's associated with many organizations in different part of the world. Actually, he is the president of the Asian Cultural Landscape Association, and then experts and voting member of ICO MOS, International Scientific Committee, Place of Religion and Rituals. Then contributing member of the IFLA, International Scientific Committee, Cultural Landscape, and coordinator ICO-MOS National Science Committee for the Cultural Landscape. Mainly the research thrust is cultural landscapes, sacredscapes, pilgrimage studies, heritagecapes, settlement systems in North India since Orla, and he has been working for the last 4 decades on the settlement system in the North India and so on. Again, sir has delivered a number of lectures across the world. He has published more than 300 papers, many books. He has also edited a number of books actually. So he's very widely traveled across the world and contributed to mainly is one of the pioneers who contributed to the cultural landscape in India. Professor H.N. Sharma doesn't require even the more introduction. I will just narrate him. If you look at he's one of the geographer truly not strengthened his department, but across the countries contributed a lot. Looking to his recognitions, he got the special distinctions like Senior Fellow, Indian Council for Social Science Research, New Delhi, Emeritus Fellow, University Grant Commission, Commonwealth Academic Staff Fellow, Cambridge University, and Senior Fulbright Fellow, University of Petersburg. Sir was, as already in the beginning I mentioned, was professor in Allahabad, and before that he was professor in Himachal University. Again, regarding the research guidance to the PhD, MPhil, the books, research paper, and projects, extensive list is given by the sir. So I will just skip it, but by looking to his special distinction, I think that is what speaks about his contribution to the research, academia, and geography specifically. And that he also he got the distinction like he was president of the IIG in 2017. Then he was even president of the NAGI in 2014. He was even editor, ANA's National Association of Geography in India. And he's worked on many committees. So I think I will summarize his work here, except with these special distinctions. One of the distinguished geographer of the country, Professor N. Shivangnam. Sir is professor from the Department of Geography, University of Madras. And his age is now 75, but still is very active. Currently, his status is mentioned that consultant NRDMS project on the spatial intelligence of Pali-Karanai Muttukede micro on flood occurrence and return period estimation for sustainable watershed management. That is what with the project with the Department of Geography, University of Madras. He's also consultant for the DRDO project on terrain evaluation of 3D visualization for defense operation in infantry and column movement. Again, the same project was associated with the Department of Geography, Madras University. He occupied in many positions in the University of Madras. He's a director. He was obviously professor and head, then dean, then director in Institute of Distance Education, and he's worked on many committees. He traveled many countries also. I think he's one of the pioneer in the South India activity, and maybe in India in some cases also. Like he's a MSc Spatial Information Technology. So this is what I started first time in India, and PG Diploma in GIS Management and MSc Geography by Distance Education. So this is what he has contributed to be promoting geography and bringing the geospatial technology in geography. So he's one of the about it. So this is in a brief about the sir. Then next speaker, the speaker is Wenwu Zhao, but as I mentioned that Yan Li is going to be soon. He's going to be joined. So I will just I got this little bit information immediately from the internet, so I will read it quickly from there. Dr. Yan Li is Associate Professor of Faculty of Geography at Beijing Normal University. He obtained from PhD from the Peking University in 2015, and his research interest lies in vegetation and climate interaction, climate change, and agriculture. He published in very prestigious journals. His research interest is in the broad areas. Look at that: vegetation, climate interaction in natural and agro ecosystem. And he used multiple approaches, including statistical analysis, RHGIS, and climatic model. So this is the brief, whatever we received about the Yang. So with this brief introduction about all these highly distinguished professors of the country, now I hand over this proceeding to the Professor H.S. Sharma. We'll be fortunate today to listen word of wisdom, approaches, perspective, and examples is about Indian geographers and Indian geographies have been doing over the period on taking the themes specifically for the geography for prosperity and peace. Over to you, H.S. Sharma, sir.
Thank you, Professor Jay Bhai. esteemed Professor K.R. Dikshit, Professor H.N. Mishra, Professor Rana P.B. Singh, Professor Shiv Gyanam, and our Chinese friend who is now joined later on, Professor Joe, co-chair, Professor Jai Bhai, Professor M.N. Kaul, and distinguished other senior geographers and young geographers who are participating in this international e-conference, and particularly this panel discussion on geography for people, planet, and prosperity. Friends, at the very outset, I would like to express my sincere gratitude to Professor Jai Bhai and his team for giving me this opportunity to share and to chair this very important panel discussion. I am deeply touched and beholden for this honor. In this panel, there are senior distinguished geographers of the country like Professor K.R. Dikshit, grandfather of geography at the moment, and Professor Mishra, Professor Rana P.B. Singh, Shiv Gyanam, and my very close friend Professor Joe, who has been working in the field of geomorphology. So I will not take much time because introduction has already been given by Professor Jai Bhai. So whatever observations I will have, I will give in the last of the session. And I think 5-10 minutes time has been allotted to the chairperson for sharing his own opinion. So now, first of all, I would like to invite Professor K.R. Dikshit to share his views on geography of peace, prosperity, and express his opinion, what he feels about geography of prosperity and peace, and how it is relevant in the present context. Professor Dikshit.
Thank you, Professor Sharma. Am I audible?
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Professor Sharma, the chairman, Professor Sarjo, co-chairman, Professor Kaul.
Thank you.
I can see him. Member panelists, Professor Mishra, Professor Rana P.B. Singh, Professor Shiv Gyanam, and Professor Zhao from China. It's a great pleasure participating in this panel discussion. In fact, the theme of the conference has been people, planet, prosperity, and peace. In his wisdom, Dr. Jai Bhai or the organizers have done away with people and planet, and they have put prosperity and peace, doesn't matter. Now, they have added geography. Now, geography as a discipline has enormous reach, unlimited. And this enormous reach of the discipline is both an advantage and sometimes it's a demerit, disadvantage. Because you don't know where you are all going. Maybe this enormous reach has led us to dilute our attention to very systematic focused research. And that is what we are accused of from many universities or many Western scholars. In fact, Harvard, which had geography for quite some time, where Professor W.M. Davis, all of you know, worked, where the well-known cartographer Reid's work, geography department was discontinued because they find too nebulous, too large, too vague, and therefore said, no, we don't want this discipline. But we survived because, we had at Oxford, we had at Cambridge, we had at Berkeley, we had Chicago, we have all the universities of the continent like Moscow or Berlin or Hamburg or Russia or Paris or anywhere else. Now, this enormous reach reaches anywhere. It can reach anytime, anywhere. It can reach the poles, the continents, the physical landscape, the human landscape. the process involved, and the attributes of these aspects. When I talk of attributes, you mean we don't take a static picture, we take a dynamic picture. So when we talk of, let us say, human geography, we think of humanity, we think the way they live, we think of the professions, we think of the social interaction, we think of the religion they have, a variety of attributes that the humanity in the world or a specific region have. So it reaches enormous. How you utilize that, that's another important thing. Here, of course, we have to see it in relation to prosperity and peace. And certainly prosperity is one of the attributes of human society. Early society, the prehistoric society, or proto-historic society, or this society, were relatively poor in certain aspects. In the sense, they started the hunting gathering. As the science advanced, they learned more and more. They developed agriculture about 10,000 years ago. The industrial age came, and certainly we developed a society which is flourishing, but which has its own problem. So the prosperity we have achieved, but prosperity has its own perils. And that we all know, because the prosperity is not shared by all. If all individuals are members of the society are not equally prosperous, they don't feel equally privileged, they don't share the growth, the fruits of development, then some kind of disparity is created. And this disparity is not simple, it is justifiable, it is just, it has occurred in all societies, and it has certainly finally evolved and given rise to democracy. Think of the French emperors, think of the Russian Tsars, think of the Mughal emperors, enormous prosperity. In fact, I was reading Shashi Tharoor's book about an era of darkness, following the title of V.S. Naipaul's book, An Area of Darkness. He wrote in 1964. Tharoor wrote An Era of Darkness. And he talked of the British regime, and he compares with the Mughal prosperity. In the Mughal days, there were enormous prosperity, yes. But who were the prosperous and who were the poor people? That is a question to be asked. The European society, or subsequently the American society, who were the people who had accumulated the wealth, and who were the people who didn't have access to that wealth? So this prosperity, if it is accompanied by some sense of partnership, where every individual in the society feels equally privileged, equally prosperous, or let us say partially equally prosperous, it has a chance of survival. It has a chance of continuing. Otherwise, there is going to be disaster. And this has been realized. Why it was being realized for almost all these 2,000 years? It's because, people thought of a divine order. All the societies, whether India, the early Hindu societies, or perhaps Muslim society or the Christian society, so this is divine order. You are born in certain families, you have certain privileges. This is the divine order. There are rich and poor. There are king and the subjects. That's not to be questioned. In fact, Shankaracharya, Adi Shankaracharya, in the 8th, 9th century, 8th century, he never questioned anything about the privileges of the individuals, the state of the individuals. They were too preoccupied with the spiritual thoughts, and the prosperity and other things were left to the kings. This inequality certainly led to the French Revolution in the mid-18th century, the American Revolution. Finally, we had some kind of democracy emerging in all the countries. In fact, it is this inequality which led to the collapse of monarchies, of the empires all over. The people felt aggrieved, they revolted, and slowly these empires disintegrated. And of course, the most quoted is certainly, we know, Karl Marx. He was certainly influenced and affected by the extreme oppression of the working class in the industrial age. The industrial became fat cats. They were the mercantile organizations. And the people who were working, they were the deprived people. They were exploited people. And then he sat in the British Library or some library in UK and developed his idea of exploitation, developed the idea of authoritarianism, developed his idea of equality and socialism. So prosperity is good. Prosperity must be promoted. I mean, wealth must be promoted. But the most important thing, even in India today, the most important thing is this prosperity has to be shared. Now, how the geographers can do it, let me tell you. This prosperity, inequality, or welfare, this has occupied the attention of geographers. Uh, I think some years ago, there was a geographer, he's still alive perhaps. His name was David Smith or David Marshall Smith. He wrote a book, Human Geography, Welfare Approach. I see Professor Rana P.V. Singh nodding his head. He is running a reference book, so he can exactly say when the book was published. But it was published. And I came to my office from some archaeologist. He said, oh, you geographers are looking at new grounds, they are breaking new grounds, proliferating into different disciplines. And here is a book written, Geography of Welfare Approach, how marvelous. I said, I didn't know. Now, the situation in India is that either we go to the extreme left among the geographers, or we go to the extreme right, or we don't go anywhere and we keep, cultivating the same land again and again and again. Now, this is where geography role is important. Since geography is so vast, provides you such a vast canvas, provides you reach everywhere, why don't we proliferate? Why don't you look at the coal mines all over India and what is happening? Why don't you look at what are the temple conditions all over? Why don't you look at what is the fisherman doing? Why don't you look at the marginalized society in Chhattisgarh or whatever? The moment it comes, we rush into a proposition. No, this is not geography. This is the field of sociology. Now, when David Smith wrote Geography of Welfare Approach, and perhaps he wrote another book, I don't remember what is the name of the book, Geography of Human Welfare or something he wrote. Certainly they had in mind that humanity is as much a concern of geographers as of political science, of sociology, or any other branch of humanities. So my suggestion would be, as a member of the panelists, that let us not shrink our existence. Let us not confine ourselves to physical and human geography. Let us not rush to the easier textbooks and say this is what we have to teach and nothing beyond that. That will be, if we do that, that will be running on the spot. That will be spot running. There is no relief, and you don't reach anywhere. You don't make any contribution. So we think, if it's within our competence, or we develop the competence to look at anything in geography, whether it's prosperity, or it is poverty, or whether it is peace, or it is war, that is good enough and that should be attempted. So this is how I think, relate geography to prosperity, relate geography to disparity and equality. In fact, I must remember Professor Muniz Raza was very much a leftist, and once he told me he was a card holder of the Communist Party of India. He produced a number of young field dissertations about regional disparities in this state and that state, taking some parameters. He was really bothered. He was concerned about the geographical distribution of prosperity. And there geography comes that if you can promote prosperity, that is very good. If you give a hand to prosperity by whatever tools you have at your disposal, that's very good. But at least as a matter of areal differentiation to quote Harshon Payne, or as a matter of regional approach or whatever, you might point out, oh, this section of society is underprivileged, this region is not doing well, this prosperity has to be shared. So this, I think, geography has a very important role in generating prosperity, or at least making sure that the prosperity, or making some the prosperity is distributed uniformly. Then about the peace, I mean, the peace is something which is very universal. Everybody wants peace, but the peace gets disturbed. In the prehistoric society, people have been fighting a turf war. Turf war means the tribal warfare as we have. The Angamis were fighting with let's say, some other group, Kurjant or somewhere else. because there was a dispute of territory. We are up to this and you cannot beyond this. This is our right. We'll be hunting. You cannot come beyond this. So there used to be certainly a disturbance of peace. And I certainly think peace often, ultimate analysis is disturbed again because of the unequal distribution of resources, unequal possession of resources, as it happened in the tribal war. And today, we fight for the frontiers. Fortunately or unfortunately, we have nation states, their boundaries are well defined, their areas are well defined, their population are well defined, even the resources are well defined. That being so, we don't want any person to come in. We don't want any, with all the nationality. And then I don't know when this passport was introduced system. Maybe it was introduced in the late 19th century. Before that, people were traveling all over the world. I don't know whether King Batuta, when he came to India, he had a passport. So then you say you can't come here, you can't go there. And whenever there's infringement, there is a war. I do not know the First World War. I was told it is not for infringement, right, for something else. I really do not know. But Second World War certainly was, trading on someone else's turf. The expansionist policy of certain nations and the geographical concept promoted by Rabzal or his follower, what was his name? The geopolitics man, Germany. What was his name? Lebensraum. The concept of Lebensraum means for living space like an organism, you have the right to expand. So you have the right to expand, then you jump into someone else territory, and certainly the peace is disturbed, the others don't want it. Now, this peace process, you all know Professor Joseph, who wrote Schwarzberg. Joseph Schwarzberg who produced the Atlas of South Asia, historical atlas. He used to come very often, and he told me he's a member of the Peace Committee or Conflict Resolution Committee, and he used to go to Kashmir. I say, how? He said there's a World Forum of Geographers and other disciplined people who really talk of peace and establishing peace. Well, this reminds me of another famous geographer, not so famous, but he has written about peace. Colin Flint or Clonin Klimt from not a very famous University of Utah. In fact, very recently, maybe early part of the 20th, 21st century. So, and then he followed up. The name of the book is Geography of War and Peace. And when you look, oh, this is Tolstoy, War and Peace, but this is a geography book. And I don't know whether our library we have, but many of the libraries certainly have David Smith book, Human Geography, Welfare Approach. And he follows it by geographies of peace or something like that. I mean, the people all over the world, the question of disturbance, the question of atrocity, the question of war, the question of, I don't want to mention, but terrorism, let us say, or the destruction of life, whatever, is not only the concern of politicians, but it is equally a concern of geographers. By writing, by working on it, by promoting the ideas, by talking to people, I think geography of peace. Earlier, there have been abstract books like geography of Humber, geography of capital formation. And like that, there could be geography of peace, a lot of abstract ideas, provided you are able to handle it. Unfortunately, what I'm sorry to comment, that's my feeling, that we are in a groove, because we have got, okay, you have geomorphology or climatology or human geography. And that you don't want to move beyond that. You don't want to focus on certain areas which could be more productive. I mean, I know Professor Rana P.V. Singh specialized in cultural landscape. In fact, there was a time when I also wanted to write something about cultural landscape, so I couldn't do it. But I'm glad he's doing it. I mean, we have enormous richness in the country of all kinds. And why, unfortunately, the political geography, which is so important, because he is mentioned with geography, prosperity, and peace. Our peace is just from the frontier, and we know very little about these frontiers. I don't know any geographer in India who has worked on India's frontiers. I knew two political geography, one was R.D. Dixit and the other was Adhikari, but they were not. R.D. Dixit switched over to election politics after doing his federalism in India. And Professor Adhikari, I don't know much, but I was reading a book by Dorothy Woodman, The Himalayan Frontiers, a very famous book. She's a British geographer, but she doesn't teach. An enormous work. That is to say, whether it is peace or it is war, whether it's starvation, whether it's prosperity, it's the human suffering or human welfare, whether it's transport, there's an enormous or unlimited, unrestrained reach of geography makes it possible for us to do something and get into this area. We should not confine ourselves to the descriptive analysis of the landform. Let me draw an example from geomorphology, where I was involved for a couple of decades. For a long time, we have been talking division cycle and describing landforms. So some of the geomorphologists say, we have ignored processes. And the process, then people say, oh, there could be climatic geomorphology, there could be tectonic geomorphology, there could be tectonics which can go, they can climatic landform. Likewise, those who think human geography or who think political geography or geography of religion, nobody thought that religion could be a thing in geography till David Soper came out with this book. So the reach of geography is enormous, whether it is prosperity or sharing of the prosperity and establishing society of equilibrium where such cases don't occur. I don't want to talk much about India. We read in the newspaper every day. We are proud of growth. People are thinking of $5 trillion economy, but we know what is happening, where all the wealth goes. One of the chairman of the director of the International Monetary Fund once said, oh, the Indians, if they distribute the wealth accumulated with some of the billionaires, things will be much better. But it is easier said than done. We couldn't do it. We couldn't make a study. But we should not think we are geographer and this is not geography. I certainly think there are some, Professor Sharma appears on the screen. There are some people who are Marxist among the geographers. I know a few of them, but no many of them. But too much determination saying reality in India, or you start with the reality of a situation anywhere in the world and look out what is possible, whether it is flooding, whether some part of the historical baggage or historical legacy reach to the prosperity in certain areas being eroded, or you think there is a need for doing this, creating prosperity, or this disparity should be removed, or the peace. If you can put your expertise, your competence, regardless of your competence, geographical or non-geographical, hardly matters. I think that will help us to focus more attention on the subject, the areas which are far more relevant, not text-oriented, and perhaps you will win the admiration of the society and the subject will burst through. Thank you very, very much.
Thank you, Professor Dixit, for covering a broad canvas of peace and prosperity and its relation with the geographical approach. And you have stated that prosperity must be promoted and our wisdom of horizon, particularly dealing with the issues, we should broaden it, and then we can say something about the peace and prosperity and citing number of references, giving your point of view. Thank you very much, sir. Because without taking much time, I invite Professor H.N. Mishra. H.N. Mishra is not visible on the scene. Now I invite Professor P.V. Rana Pratap Singh, Rana P.V. Singh. Rana P.V. Singh.
Okay, could you please just start my screen share because I have to show slides.
Professor Jaibai.
Okay,
Yes, sir. Yes.
Okay, can you see my screen?
Yes. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Visible.
Hello. Okay, fine. Okay, fine. Fine. Okay, thank you very much for.
उनको बुला लिया
Thank you. मैं मिश्रा जी आ गए हैं तो उनको पहले बुलाइए।
हाँ बोलिए साहब।
हेलो
जी सर, मिश्रा जी बोलेंगे क्या?
हेलो
हाँ बोलिए।
बोल तो भाई।
तो मिश्रा जी को बुलवाइए।
हेलो
Mishra ji, you are
Mishra ji.
visible. You are also
You are
audible.
visible now. So would
I
you
am
like
very
to?
Professor Sharma, I am very distinctly visible.
So you please.
Distinguished, very distinguished chairman, Professor Sharma.
Now sir, I now request you to kindly share your views on peace and prosperity and the role of geographers.
Thank you, Professor Sharma ji. Distinguished chairman, co-chairman, Professor Jog, very distinguished panelists, very distinguished geographer, Professor Dikshit, Professor Rana P.B. Singh, Professor Shivagyanam, and Chinese friend, ladies and gentlemen. It is really a great privilege to be associated with this panel discussion. I am especially grateful to the organizers for having given me this great opportunity to interact with some of the very distinguished professors of the country. Let me submit that the theme of this panel, people, geography for people, peace, prosperity, and sustainable development, is really very contextual and very relevant, especially in the current context. It very clearly brings out that geography is not a passive outcome, but a critical component of social and economic processes. Friends, this is true that geography is a much later addition in the bogey of formal disciplines. Nevertheless, I would say with great confidence that geography was born with the birth of man on earth and always goaded with the idea of human welfare and development. Ladies and gentlemen, the famous geographer of the United States of America, Thomas Unwin, through New York Times back in the 1992 says that geography is queen of sciences. It is mother of physics, chemistry, zoology, botany, parent to history and economics. Without the clear grounding in the known characteristics of the earth, physical sciences are merely game pilling and social sciences only ideology. That clearly speaks the importance, vivacity, and universality of the subject known as geography. Ladies and gentlemen, to say that geography was born in 3rd century BC, as it is commonly said, let us agree to disagree. That geography is a much older discipline, and the term Bhugol has been used long time ago in Srimad Bhagavad Puran, which is more than 5,000 years old, and maybe little more old. Rana P.B. Singh might be knowing more about it. From the very beginning, ever since geography was formalized and as a discipline, the epistemology, ontology, and methodology of geography, which combined together make paradigms, have been based on man-environment relationship. Whether they are traditional paradigms, that is environmental determinism, possibilism, regionalism, etc., or the contemporary paradigms, whether they are positivism, Marxism, behavioralism, structuralism, and postmodernism, all the paradigms, no matter what might have been the peripheral themes, they have centered around and focused mainly on the man-environment or relationship, where the major focus has been the peace, prosperity, sustainability, and overall development of human society. And therefore, this debate, this discussion seems to be quite relevant, friends, because we do not simply discuss the spatial outcome or spatial manifestations of society and economy. In fact, what we try to discuss, how space shapes and how it makes the society, economy, and polity. I am therefore of the view that it is about explaining how space helps shape economy and society and how does it progress. A very famous geographer from United Kingdom, she says that the everyday spaces and lives of people matter very much in the human society and in shaping the economy. I would like to remind you that when the Russian forces tried to move to Afghanistan to administer the bad states of affairs there, then the then defense minister told that his name was Michael Kapitsa. He said that troops are moving to Afghanistan. Then one of the diplomats said, the name of the diplomat is Gromyko. He said, yes, the troops may be different, but the mountains are the things, which means it is the geography of Afghanistan that will determine the kind of performance the troops of Russians are going to have in Afghanistan. The point that I am trying to make is this, that it is the geography that matters more. Geography, the decisions or any outcomes are not from the war rooms or from the wardrobes. They are basically out of the spaces and the society that matters very much. The fundamental principle of sustainable development, which is based on the homogeneous relationship between man and environment, that has been the thought process of India since times immemorial. And we have been always talking about Mata Bhumi, Putro Aham Prithibhyah, that earth is our mother and we are her children. Sarve bhavantu sukhina, sarve santu niramaya, sarve bhadrani pasyantu, ma kaschit bhag bhavet. Let everybody be happy on the surface of the earth. That has been the basic tenet of geography. Friends, over a period of time, unfortunately, with the development of Eurocentric and American paradigms, we completely forgot. And it was for this reason that back in 1970s, there was a crisis of relevance of geography. People started questioning as to how far geography is relevant for the development of the human society. A lot of people said that this globalization has made the world borderless, and therefore geography is really irrelevant. So was the case with the Cold War period. During the Cold War period, and also on account of globalization, geography was marginalized. But it did not happen. Friends, globalization does not make the world borders. Spatiality does remain. And most of the problems that humankind face today, they are interface of human society and natural environment. If this conflict of human society and natural environment is addressed in correct context, I think the question of peace, the question of prosperity, the question of sustainability can automatically be solved. Unfortunately, we have not been able to address, and we have not been able to give due thought to the basic tenets of geography, that is the man-environment relationship. Had we be given due importance to this, I think most of the questions, most of the problems, most of the crises that we have been facing today would have been over. It is in this context that the post-modernism has come as a great rescue. And here we have realized that most of the ideas, most of the thoughts, most of the paradigms are basically Eurocentric. They are not indigenous. They had not come out of the thought process of the indigenous soil. And there's a need that we should try to generate our own paradigms, which should be more suited into the Indian context, into the Indian society, to the Indian economy, so that we are able to generate, we are able to formulate our own paradigms for working for sustainable development. Sustainability is currently in vogue. And as I said in the beginning, this has been part of the Indian thought process from the very beginning, but it has been given some new dimension. And there is a millennium goal, which was formulated in 2000. The seventh goal out of 8 very much emphasizes the role of geography, that is man-environment relationship. Likewise, the 17 sustainable development goals, out of 17 sustainable development goals, goal 11, 12, 13, 14, and 15 are very much based on geographic concept, which is man-environment relationship. The crisis of water, the climate change, the desertification, the extreme of disaster, and variety of other socio-economic problems that we have been facing today could be addressed only when we are able to address the core of the geographic theme, which is man-environment relationship, which is based on the fundamental principles of peace, prosperity, people, sustainable development of the human society in general. Friends, the geography over a period of time has played very significant role in mitigating, in pronouncing, in explaining the regional equality, regional disparity, socio-economic problems at different scales and at different locales. Nevertheless, the need of the hour is that we should once again pool our mind and try to think jointly some of the conflict resolutions through which we are able to formulate the indigenous paradigm rooted into the Indian thought process. And that should be the goal and principle of the geographers. A lot of areas have been ignored by the Indian geographers. We have basically mostly followed the Western path, and the geography of India, the culture of India, the religious fabric of the India, the socio-economic fabric of the India, the regionalization of the India, and the socio-economic spaces which have been emerging, the spatial manifestations have not been taken up. I would hope that through this panel discussion, our younger lot will be able to think about it and would try to focus the attention in a manner and style so that the geographers of our country would once again like to engage into the process of discovering the paradigms which are suited to the Indian thought process and which may promote the sustainable development, which is really the need of the hour. This has been the goal, and this goal needs to be achieved. And in order to achieve this goal, there is a need that we should collectively, jointly work together to achieve this goal, which is really not a distant dream. With this, I would like to thank for this random thought process. In fact, today was the Pitri Divas, and I was very much engaged in that process, and therefore I have not given a very serious thought. Nevertheless, these are some of my random points. And with this, I would like to summarize and say thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, for giving me this great opportunity of interacting and discussing some of the random points that I have had in my mind. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor Mishra, for very forcefully presenting your point of view, especially on man-environment relationship, then development of society and development of sustainable and development goals of society, which you have listed, 17 goals that have been prepared by United Nations in 2015. And you have tried to emphasize on paradigm shift. And with the paradigm shift, we have to relate our relation with the geography of prosperity and peace. Thank you very much, sir. Now I invite Professor Rana P.V. Singh ji for his PowerPoint presentation. Thank you very much, Professor Sharma. Professor Mishra.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. I think the screen is visible. The screen is visible.
Yes, sir, you are very visible.
Okay. Just quickly, I will pass on. How to make it presentation. Make it big. So, share. Okay, thank you very much for giving this opportunity. First of all, many things what I am going to talk, these are all elaboration, nothing like my understanding. It's just what I have grasped from long, invisible grasping from Professor, our master, Professor Kyadeshji. In the lower side, in the corner, you can see the two generations, Ravi, who is no more, and Dikshitji, how he's thinking and giving the thought. So at the end, I will cite something just to link the story. Keep in mind, I am going to present this. Two things are very important. The one thing is that whatever we are talking, I am a little bit different since last 30 years. That somehow the old Savarian tradition, that what you can do for others and how others can accept you, that is the story. And that's how the terminology you have already heard earlier, habitat ecology and other ecology, here is interfacing heritage ecology, how geography to be considered in somewhere other side. From the classical tradition, we start from Carl Savarian tradition, geography, the study of cultural landscape. But now nowhere, at least in Indian context, in common way, we are talking of cultural landscape. Thanks that this discipline, landscape analysis, landscape ecology, cultural landscape, full independent subject and branch, in broad sense of architecture, there are already 10 departments in India also in civil engineering and architecture they are dealing with. They are dealing those cultural landscape. So that is just to give you that this is a little bit different from that perspective. Let me start with quickly within 10 minutes time. Here is that when we are talking geography, geography explains the past, illuminates the present, and prepares us for the future. What could be more important than that? Here I have to make a comment. We, in most of the term, please excuse me if something I can say something odd. I'm just like an unborn baby, so please forgive me for that. We are very much bothered about defining geography. I don't know why. If you see Peter Haggett, geography models is this diagram is based on that. So this is at the core. It's just like in Navi. In architecture, we say axis mundi, and so many links are there. So nothing to define. We have to create this like this. So just giving you that famous idea from Peter Haggett. Okay, this is again based on the book published in 2004, that idea. These are all integrated. The one mistake we have committed in history and also in European tradition to divide physical geography and then human geography or cultural geography. But and then he started, Alan Wilson, a physicist, converted into geography, saying geography is what geographers can do. And that's why a lot of things gone some other way. Because all the domain geography is a way of understanding culture, people, the nature, the society, whatever you can do. Now, at the end, I will add something about the sustainability concept. Of course, already Mishraji highlighted all the historical concept. The thing is here, how the core concern we can put of the wider perspective, the geography to be taken in that perspective. The term is coined heritage ecology, and in psychology, in deep psychology, especially in psychiatry, already people are talking about geography and that under the banner of what they call heritage ecology. So I have adopted from them that geography is also going to be recognized in other areas in a very wide perspective. In most of the cases, they say this is not the subject you can find. It is just like the open phenomenon. It is just like the cosmos. Geography as cosmos. Geographical approach as cosmology. So this type of debate. In that context, a heritage word, which is nowadays after the United States propagated, thanks to 2015 meeting of UNESCO, I was member there, and I explained the whole thing, what Mishraji had mentioned now, Prithibhyam Putro Ashmi from the Atharva Veda, and that is the Prithvi Shukta, 11th mandala of Atharva Veda. So that context you have to link. Thanks God that UNESCO people accepted it and they elaborated it. Nobody in India is still talking that the word Harohar, that is coming from the ancient Vedic literature and having whole conceptual frame of earth and then environmental relations. But we are not talking that. We are talking modern things. So just to give you heritage is the mirror of mankind's growth, progress and prospect. So that must be observed, understand and projected. This is a very common thing now we are using in ecophysiology and geography, not geography, that is psychology, that how they want to say. At the root is Mother Earth. One of the here very remarkable thing, you believe or not, when you read the original text by Eratosthenes, who has coined the word geography, then he exactly tried to translate. Don't ask somebody else. Then what he said, geography is the study of the earth is capital and class is the, and that is the organic sense. What we did in English and in mostly Hindi translation, the is taken and E became smaller than say planetary size. So that was one mistake, philosophical mistake to understand this whole idea like this. So we have very commonly talk about the four traditions of geography, earth science, culture, environment, location tradition, area that is based on William Pattison, very famous paper that published in Journal of Geography. Now we are adding the fifth tradition, that is global understanding, interconnectedness, interrelatedness, not the relation, interrelatedness or interconnectedness. And thanks God that UNESCO has given full chair to geography for the global understanding. Werner Verlan from Germany, from Jena University, is the chairman since last 6 years. and they are projecting that what geography can do for the whole world. It may be all the sustainable 17 goals or other things also. So that is, here is the latest development. And in that context, something surprising that many things they are taking from the Indian context. What we are now putting in the bundle of Indian knowledge system. Okay, the broad perspective, physical and human. Thanks God that now it is integrated in Indian term. If you can see early writing by Professor Dishiji, I am talking 2006 and before. 4 or 5 of his papers, just giving review, whatever glimpse today he has given, then linking what we can do. We are talking all this, what happened, how happened, what are the gaps. Okay, very good. But what do we have to do? Where is that India? Still, that is a big question. What is Indian in Indian geography? Thanks God that at least a man at this stage is still raising the same voice. And some young generation people, we are also from middle going by, so they will realize. So here is, the book has become the geography of the morals. And they are talking about that is a serious concern from your inner thought. It is nothing like what is outside, but inner side, where is the moral imperative and geographically that can be linked. So the idea already started. Okay, given this idea that we have very strong historical link, started from Alexander from von Humboldt, and what he has done, he has used geognosy to link nature and culture at one stage. Thanks God that only in 2017, first time in UNESCO and ICOMOS and IFRA, these 3 international bodies, they come to this meeting that we held in Delhi, and the term has been used, nature, culture, world. There is nothing like that two sides. It is all linked together. Same Sumerian tradition. They have cited also our earliest 1922 paper, how we have tried to base this whole ideology. So just giving you an idea that we have geographical base. How to link a Nobel laureate from chemistry, now he is 103 years old and is still active. James Lovelock, the man who is known for the guy, started in 1967, and this is the most debated, controversial, and maximum number of papers written, it may be favor or not favor, on Gaia theory in biological science. What he used to say, so I will cite his earlier citation. Our future depends much more upon a right relationship with Gaia. Gaia means motherly sense of the earth, what is exactly defined in the Prithvi Sukta of Atharva Veda, and with the near-ending drama of human intent. What he adds, God and Gaia, theology and science, even physics and biology are not separate, but a single way of thought. Here I have interaction with Professor James Lovelock, and I say, look, if you can talk about Indian geography in classical way, in Vedic and Upanishadic tradition that has been climaxed in Srimad Bhagavata, geography is just as a path. Geography is going to, it is not like only Bhugol. It is something like Bhu Brahman. It is not gold. That was appreciated by him. Okay, and Carl Sauer, that debate that he started in 1920 and his collection of papers 1963 that published, where he has given address, and he said, 2 lines I have to cite. The one is that what he said, modern geography is the modern expression of the most ancient geography. And he has used a word, deep. The deep geography will come in future, people will realize, and then the importance of geography will be accepted. One of his disciples, David Lowenthal, what is now no more, the geography of the world is united only by human logics and optics, by the light and color of the artifice, by decorative arrangements, and by ideas of the good, the truth, and the beautiful. He had never visited India, never consulted Upanishadic thought, but here you can remember the Chattamasiva Vasudha. He is explained in the same way. So that is the way to go to the deeper thought, like this. The 2 persons, Carl Sauer, and that his whole idea was based on Otto Schuller, how they have tried to link this whole idea of understanding and moral concern, values, ethics, accountability, principles, and integrity. And altogether, we have also to think about cross national happiness, what already in some areas of Bhutan going on. Okay, now coming to the idea of cultural landscape, which he has already mentioned, that when we define in Western terminology, and now to link with the Greek, Latin, or our Indian terminology, it is a way of thinking, clairvoyance. Open your eyes and see the world, and then close your eye, absorb all things. Like this. This is the way the Upanishadic tradition. So that is that human beings and nature in the time frame, in the spatial frame, they maintain existence, continuity, transformation, and transferability altogether. That is a path to Indian knowledge system. Thanks to Government of India, that only 1.5 years ago, a full committee, a full type of a system developed, Indian knowledge system, and first such IIT Kharagpur having full center, International Center of Indian Knowledge System. Jai Sen is now director. Thanks, somehow he has added the name of geographer to tell that how this space and time phenomena, what we call spatio-temporal, a Rene Thom, the mathematician who coined these two words together, that is now accepted there, and they are talking all this old tradition to analyze with the modern scientific method. And geography is also considered there. So that is one of the information. For 2-3 more slides just to say that how geography is going to be in between. This is based on a model, International Union of Conservation of Nature. That is the oldest organization, much older than UNESCO and supporting body to UNESCO. They have introduced the concept sacred religious sites. That is at the core. Same model, just like we are talking about gender-based sustainability model that started in 1987. Natural world, human world, spiritual world, all interaction, then subsets, religious value, symbolic value, conservation value, and at the core is sacred religious side. Here you have not to be confused with the Greek terminology of religion. This is very close to our Buddhist terminology of dharma, or you can say Indian terminology, that is the moral duty. This way they have tried to develop this. This is the way they have elaborated what we call locality to universality. The moment you say locality, you start from the micro space and then come to meso, then come in the top, that is the macro space in geographical term. This is the way they have modeled this. And that model has already tested in 5 countries, and the planning perspective is going to be operated through this model perspective, not in India. At least Japan and Korea, they have adopted this way to do this. Now, coming to that issue, when we are talking about this sustainability, let us see the whole thing. The first diagram you can see without this dark line, you can remove dark line from your mind, then economy, environment, and society. That is went away to model 1987 when the terminology of sustainability at the core after all interaction and subset that was introduced. But it has been added in just after 5 years, that has been added. Culture is a part of sustainability. So they have added the 4th group, culture. Then after 5 years, culture for sustainable development, it is coming at the core. These 3 units, the basic pillars of sustainable development, society, economy, environment, and the core concern is culture. And what is Luston? December 2015. It is now resolved and accepted, and then it has been elaborated in the whole 17, that whole model frame and different groups of sustainable development program of Facebook. Culture itself is sustainable development. That is the covering. And now the famous saying by Lena White, 1967 in the journal Science, all the problems generate from the mind, solution will come from the mind. That is now again revived. That is the core thing. Geography is coming up, like David Smith, that book, Welfare Approach. Now other books are also coming, how ethics is a part of that, how morality is on it. And all these things are nothing like new. The basic philosophy context already used 1942, geography and psychology. You see that geography of religion, that is 1790. Such books already published, but no way we have tried to elaborate and link. So this will be our approach, our thought, just to say like this. Let me quickly pass. What UNESCO recently dealing with, it means especially I am talking June and July, how the committee members are elaborating this whole concept, and some geographers are already there. Okay, from India, yeah. And still we are not trying to link the Indian thought, but anyway, just linking that all the concept of sustainability or frame or attributes that will be covered with the cultural capital and cultural permeates. And then all linked together, that will be part of the heritage. And then just like Peter Haggett, we are talking geography, all that combination, here is the combination. Culture and nature together, entangled and inseparable. You can have the different units, but all linked together, and that will be wholeness. WHO, wholeness, Brahmandiya group of that one. In the practical example, how they are practically doing, engineers, especially architects, they are linking nature, culture. One side is ancient building, etc. The natural phenomena linked in a model that when you walk and go through, you can feel the integrity of man-nature relationship. Better to call interrelationship or interrelatedness. We have another tradition, a man who was linked to geography, Patrick Geddes. He has talked all these things in a different perspective and moral concern. He was talking about morality and sense of place. So civics and institution, up and down, the study of place at the center, and these phenomena, these are the major, very broad terminology he has used and published. Thanks God, just only last month, a book has been published, the Rutledge's Handbook of Place Studies. Nobody from geography here, okay, one person is there, but we have tried to say that, look, Indian thought already having, it does not mean that there is nothing like that. We need a real reinterpretation and provocation so that people can understand historically we have. So now they call it what is geography. Geography is a place concern, and place is always a live organic phenomena, just like in the Atharva Veda, Prithvi Shakti, it has been defined like this. Okay, the same thing as elaborated place as a synthesis of nature and culture. Then only you can add all the attributes like here some. This is an extension of Patrick Geddes, what he has had to do like this. Okay, now global understanding, 2-3 slides more and then finish. People from the sense of ourselves and the space phenomena, what are the different dimension, attributes, or perspective to see? Scale, speciality. Bhudrishya Matrika. Bhudrishya. Why I am using this terminology? Remember David Sofer, who had challenged that Indians still follow the calendar, you know, the controversial paper already published in 1972 and reprinted several times. Why not you are trying to put your own terminology and define through the ancient? So I have just tried a little bit attempt to link scale, speciality, that is Bhudrishyatma, time frame, sequentiality, Kalatma, functions, activity, Kriyatma, mobility forms, pilgrimage, Tirthyatma, quest, sacrality, like Pavitrata, and our mental state, belief system, like us. All these things to understand that inherent meaning and whatever you are talking now, postmodernism, sorry to say postmodernism is now badly challenged. KP Tripathi, a young man, a very old man, very senior, our Guruji.
Wind up, sir.
Okay, I am just completing 1-2 more.
Yeah.
That is the base of Indian knowledge system. Okay, quickly now, pass. Here is one example. Macro space India level, Jyotirlinga. The history goes 1200 BC, then 800 AD, and then 18th century. So macro, meso, micro, and that is the prima special transposition that had been studied in architecture, but in Indian geography not introduced. So it is nothing like claim or blame, just to say that these are the perspectives. Here is another, this is unique in the whole world. See how geographer can do this. This is nothing like simple topography. It's a very high resolution. So National Science Foundation, USA having a program, we have plotted Shiva and then Parvati, where are the temple, 3 down, 3 up, and this way the whole hexagram program has been added, and then all this series already published. It's nothing like new phenomenon. Same thing, Ganga. Only we talk about river, but never try to link Ganga. This is published in Nagi Journal, and that is the Gangaization. All the rivers, in terms of sacrality, they have been perceived, received, described like this. Okay, this is just like now 40 sites, heritage sites. Here are of them, the 9 sites are related to religious things. Now 2 more slides and finish. Certainly, we need a good and balanced combination and synthesis between insider and outsider, Eastern and Western, interdisciplinary, experiential and referential, rational and relational, and so on. Thus, we would have sustainable, happy, and habitable human landscape. Let us hope for the truthfulness through the goodness in the beautiful way, what we call Satyam Shivam Sundaram. And before quickly, let me pass here. Now, this is the last to say, let us make happy places and enjoy mosaicness. Placeness, placemaking, placefulness, and heritization. Edward Ralph, a man from Canada, only one book, for, of course, he had written 3 books, world famous, Place and Placelessness. That is the idea we want to from our own root. And let me close it just to dedicate to Professor Dikshitji and citing one of his old quotation, 2006. All noble approaches is not saying anything bad. So don't try to say it is not that. You have to understand it in a very open mind. All noble approaches, tools, and even offshoots of the discipline by themselves does not represent the spirit of geography. That is the Indian context. Indian geography could establish its own paradigm and priority in research and teaching of geography. Let the Indian geographers contemplate on it, and that will be the real service of geography to the Indian knowledge system. And parallel to this, the famous living legend in theoretical physics, I am citing Fritjof Capra, what he used to say, just last line, science does not need mysticism, and mysticism does not need science, but we human beings need both. So that is the message. And now, if you are not ready to do this, then who will do? And when will do? And the last one, this one, the last lecture, the 5th lecture in Chicago. And that is the last line, what Vivekananda said, based on the Kathopanishad. Utishthata Jagrata Prapti Varana Bolte. Arise, awake, and stop not till the goal is reached.
Achieve.
If you are not ready, then who will be ready? So this was a wonderful such exercise, first time in happening, what I know. So thank you very much for giving this opportunity. And there are Charana Spar, Shadar Pranam, Vandana to Professor Dikshitji, who has always inspired me. And I always try to make something, he always responds. So thank you very much, sir. In fact, this is just dedication to his footprints to Professor Dikshitji. Pranam, sir.
Thank you very much, Professor Rana P.V. Singh ji, for your very thought-provoking lecture and sharing your views through beautiful slides. You have raised a number of issues like tradition of geography and 4 traditions you have identified, then culture and sustainable development goals model you have presented. So very nice presentation you have given, highlighting various aspects of heritage, ecology, geography, and global understanding of the problem. Thank you very much, sir. Now, without taking much time, I now invite Professor Sivagyanam to share his views, and I request that you should be within limit of 15 minutes because time is already 4 o'clock and the time up to 4:15 is the last.
Thank you, Professor.
So please,
thank you.
Please, because I will also not take much time at the end.
Okay, thank you, Professor Sharmaji. I will limit myself as the way you have said. Professor Sharmaji and Professor Dikshit, Professor Mishra, and Professor Rana Pratap Singh. For everybody, I have my own respects. Now, I will start from where Professor Rana BP Singh has left. He said Vivekananda, and then Vivekananda, when he was Narendra, then he has become Vivekananda after reading the book Ashtavagraha Gita. This was a story by Ashtavagraha to Janak. For the worldly relationship, he was able to tell beautifully. That was a wonderful book to read about all the Indian philosophical subjects, even relating to geographical thoughts, etc., etc. Why all these prakrits were not stable, etc., you start like that. With this, now I am going to go to my slides. Okay, I have to share first. Is it visible, sir? Yeah, it is visible. Okay. Just have to move. Slide from the first. Is it out of focus or what?
It's visible, sir.
It is
Okay.
perfect, perfect,
Yeah.
go ahead, perfect.
Okay, so
Go ahead.
I would like to restrict my understanding of geography of prosperity and peace in the changing phase of geographic thinking as well as practice of geography. As you know very well, the geography, there was a very clear classical understanding in the old times. Then it is the world order brought by kingdoms and religions. It was the religions that brought the world order. By that, there were geographic thinking like that, etc. As Mishra has said, the Bhagavad Gita like that. There were a lot many texts in India and China that is able to bring what is geography, what is prakriti, what is vikriti, what is jiva, what is atma, like that, etc. Relating the human beings with the nature. So it was there in all the things. Then there is editorial expansions by war when the human organization is organized. Then they thought it is better that we can have a large area to occupy. Then it came trade and learning institutions and mining, etc. Then came the great eastward movements, because at that time the shipping was not so effective. Therefore, all the eastward movements were there from Europe or from the Russian territory or from those areas towards India, towards China, towards Southeast Asia. Then came this westward across the oceans by penal settlements. All those criminals, they were deported from European countries to US, from other countries in the South America. They were deported, or Australia. That is the way that expansion took place under human occupation. And then they have to face difficulties. Therefore, they have to try to understand geographic concepts in the given area, which made understanding the geography, etc. I always cherish the book by Isaiah Bowman, Frontier Settlements in Geography in US. There he is very loosely described about how new areas were explored. Then there were wars. Then there were a paucity of the labor. Therefore, slave trade was there. It was started for Belgium. Then all other countries were excelling these slaves, etc. And then, as you know very well, the first shipment from London to US was carrying lot many people. They were sold in the harbor, first slaves, even though they were white men, they were sold. Then it was established. Then came the need-based estates were raised, tea gardens, coffee gardens, rubber gardens, and then also cotton, etc. in United States, etc. They were able to bring large number of the black people, brown people, and yellow people as slaves, and they were able to work. Then comes this 18th century onwards, geography is turned towards the understanding other the modern things, whatever you say like that. So I can say prosperity of geography is part of natural history in the beginning, where integrated understanding of the nature and the man was proposed. That was the originality of the geography in the beginning, which gave a lot of philosophical views, conceptualization of geographical thought, abstraction and deduction from the nature. Therefore, they were able to see the day and night as the easiest measure of the time. Then from there, they are able to deduct, okay, when the sun is on the above the head, there would be half a day. Then from there to another half a day. Then the star movement they reckoned. Then they said this star movement from one direction to the another direction, like the evening star and the morning star were the indications of the 6 months relations, etc. That's the way they have made it, things like that, etc. Then that was a period of fantasy in geography. Like in any other subject, there were fantasy, and then they were able to see a lot of lands, like in our classical literature, there is Bhubhuva Swaha. So Swarga is visualized like that, etc. And then the Swarga in the earth is also visualized. Therefore, these temple towns were believed as Swarga, like that, etc. Then there were logic, because everything is, you have to logically prove, then it is being accepted. Then the subject of the royal expectations. When the kingdoms were very big and they have to maintain their kingdom, they have to construct the forts, they have to have more territory for resources, or building blocks and other things, etc. Therefore, royal, to meet the royal needs, luxury, pleasure, and they were fond of game and hunting, etc. And then physical resources for forts, etc., etc. They were able to. Geography was more of descriptive nature on those times, etc. Then came the campaign of world winner. That means there were a lot of people displaced by the war or by the kings. The kings, when they wanted to go to the new areas, they will win over the new areas, then they will take settlements and settle like that. For example, the invasion of Muslims, invasion of the Westerners in the north, and their mixing took place like that, etc. Alexander brought a lot of settlers from that country, etc. That become one of the very important settlements like that, etc. So the war has become, or the trade routes have become one of the important things of understanding geography, because unless otherwise, you know what resources are available and what seasons these are available, what is the type of the route that you have, how to overcome all the difficulties, etc. You cannot do that. Therefore, geography took it like that. I can say that the Alexander, the Genghis Khan, German and Russian expansions, Muslim invasions from the intricate war of this Hussein and Ali also took. They were able to put lot of territories under control. Therefore, the southern part of Russia and then Spain, etc., were influenced by this movement of the invaders. Then there is a great Indian kingdoms. You have Guptas, you have Kanishkas. They were able to go even the middle part of the Russia. You know very well Kandahar was one time was the capital of our legendary Gandhari. Therefore, it is like that, etc. Then there is Chinese kingdoms that thrive. Then the prosperity of geography in the second phase was trade and geopolitical power, establishing trade and geopolitical power. They thought the commodities available locally can be imported. Therefore, they have to develop new territories, and they have to bring their own political system in the new territories. That is the way India and many of the countries were colonized. They brought their own education system, their own administrative system, their own production system by destroying our own knowledge system, etc. That was the time that historical geography, deterministic and probabilistic ideas of schools of thought of geography were very flourishing, and human environment relations were insisted. Also, there is also a discrimination, race and racial studies and a discrimination of the knowledge systems were introduced in the subject, and they were able to tell about what is the Africans, how they are lack of like that, how Indians, what is their knowledge system, etc., is great. Then there were explorations that brought cartography to the forefront. So there were a lot many tools were invented towards cartography, observing the moon, observing the stars, observing all the things. When they go as a mariner, they should know about all these things. And mapping the sky was very important. Mapping the oceans were very important. So they should know where is this island available, therefore they can get the water filled with like that, etc. So that was the time of cartography. That was the time of oceanographic studies. That was the time of management and land use studies, etc., etc. Then came this understanding the earth, sky, and changes. So they were able to try to understand earth, sky, and change, and mostly a sedentary occupation brought them. The land is limited, therefore they have to plan it very well. They have to see the future, therefore there were predictions. Then there is expansions of the territory. Then there were concepts of regions, because all those things grow up in the time. So as you know very well, that is the, so then let you say, what is peace and geography? So resource expeditions and estates were brought. Is that brought peace? Is minerals and treasury. So therefore they were prosperity. They thought is the more minerals, and therefore more estates. And then there is economic, and therefore there is a growth of industrial and economic geography, mining geography, and then geography of trade and commodities, and huge vehicles, etc. Then human movements and social geography was that period flourished very well. Also, they brought a lot of pollution, a lot of wastages. Therefore, the study of disasters and wastages, pollutions were simultaneous done. Then, because it is new, opening of the new territories, you have to understand the people first, then later on you win over, and you terminate them also eventually. Like the Indians in the United States were terminated. In the beginning, they were understood, then they know the weakness of the Indians, then they were terminated in the large scale. So all those things are part and parcel of cultural geography. Then came this 18th, 19th, and 20th century. Technology and tools were invented. Now the current trend is geospatial, geocomputational, and planning and management applications. That's the way geography has changes taking place. Then how do we measure prosperity? Is there a method of measuring prosperity? Yes, there is an economic concept of measuring prosperity. Often it is it is related to negatively with the health, happiness, or spiritual notions of society. Therefore, there is a paucity of measuring prosperity using these economic methods. And also it is proved that data on such surveys are unable to bring out the real truth on the prosperity, etc. Therefore, the question is, does prosperity brings happiness, physical and mental well-being, sustainability, reduction in socio-economic imbalances? Is there any answer for this? Now, there are some cultural texts, they are trying to say what is prosperity. Like in Buddhism, prosperity is viewed with the emphasis on collectivism and spirituality. Therefore, collectively you have to do the things and then share it so well. Therefore, this inequality will be reduced and spirituality would be there. This perspective can be at odds when capitalistic norms are introduced. Therefore, in the capitalist norms, The class divisions are more important rather than the equality. Therefore, that is the importance of the cultural debt. Then, as per Hindu philosophy, artha is the measure of prosperity. And you know, artha is one of the four dharmas one has to perform in the different ages. Okay, dharma, artha, kama, and moksha, etc. So after artha, you have to do some dharma. Then with dharma, you have to have kama. You have to love your neighbors. You have to love everything. Then there would be, you have to work for moksha. So you have to spend all what you have earned for the poor, for the state. Then artha is a part of our objectives of human life. You know that. Therefore, it is being told.
Sir,
In
sum
the-
up.
Pardon?
Sir, sum up, because time, they are pressing me to wind up this session by 4:30, before 4:30.
Yeah, another 2
Yeah.
minutes. Another 2
Yeah.
minutes. Okay, I will speed up. I will tell what is in this one. This religio cultural understanding. I try to bring out what is the what is prosperity as per the Christian tradition. What is prosperity as per Islamic tradition? So this Islamic tradition, Christian tradition, etc., is address the issue on the basis of individual as well as on the individual's protection rather than the other things, etc. Then you have the, in the geographic domain, these are the subjects to be understood in the nature of what is prosperity. So is there any measure of prosperity? Yes, there are not many methods available in geography as prosperity. Some of them are very old classical methods which we have forgotten. Now, there is in the economic, there is a gross product. Domestic product is the measure of the prosperity, which it doesn't bring measure of prosperity as it is. Whereas in geography, there is a geographically weighted correlation regression, Moran's I, then GLCM, variogram, TSA, SVM, etc. is being used just on the face value rather than used very, very widely as interpretative tools. Also, is there any spatial prosperity? The spatial prosperity is sometimes expressed in terms of growth, development, sustainability, welfare, self-reliance, market and commercial productivity. And in India, it is mostly in adaptability. Then is there any measure of the peace? This is very ridiculous, as you know very well. Peace is measured by a global peace index, where India is placed in the 8th place among the so many countries. 163 countries, we are the 8th. That means we don't have a place on the peace. We have more of troubled place. Also, there is a terrorism index in which we are, in the peace place, we are placed in the 135th position, whereas in the terrorism, we are in the top 10, 8th place. These are all ridiculous because these measures are based on the UN records, which are a third-party records where they have compiled and they brought up. So these are all basically a wrong message, geographical message published by the world bodies. So the basic is geography should understand the earth, and then this would be the last slide in which impacts of prosperity and peace is peace may make theoretical, abstract, artistic, spiritual, moral understanding of the subject much more flourishing. Rather, prosperity may be the result of material, developmental, practical, organizational, and need-based aspirations. Within that, we have the technology which will overrun on both. Technology and inventions make both independent to each other and also interconnect the philosophy in action and manifestations. With this, peace and challenge, etc., this I leave it to you. there is a need for foresight. There's a need for understanding of what is peace, what is prosperity in geographical context. We need to revisit peace and measurement of peace over the space, and already available methods are obsolete, expressing actual mental and other spiritual peace in the world. It's all more materialistic. Thank you very much for the opportunity given to me. I thank the organizers, especially Jobai and all other people assembled and all other, they are behind the scene. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Professor Shiv Gyanam, for sharing your very important issues which you have discussed about the changing face of geography right from 18th century. And the more specifically, you have indicated that how prosperity and peace can be measured, because that is very essential for geographers, how to measure these two things. And you have very lightly pointed out in your presentation. Thank you very much, sir. There is a time limit. That's why I'm not deliberating much on this issue.
Sir,
But,
Sharma, sir.
I would like to congratulate all the distinguished
Sharma, sir.
speakers.
Sharma,
sir.
sir.
Ji.
So sorry to interrupt you, sir.
Yeah.
Sir, Yanli has joined the session.
Okay. So
already he sent us the yeah, and I have requested our
okay.
10 people. We can start the validity function by 4:45.
Okay.
And this is on the same link, so we continue immediately also.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for giving some time. So now I invite on behalf of Professor Wanu Jha to share views how to promote geography for sustainability.
Okay. Thank you for the invitation.
Thank you.
I'm very honored to attend to this conference. This talk originally should be provided by Professor Wenwu Zhao, because he has some urgent issues today to handle. So I'm here on behalf of him to help us go through the slides he has. So the talk of Professor Wenwu Zhao was how to promote geography for sustainability. This is an outline of his talk. So the first is global challenges for sustainability. As we know, the world has many increasingly more population, and we also face the challenge from climate change. And the Earth has entered a new era called Anthropocene, which means that the human activities has become a main driver for the evolution of Earth, and it also caused many environmental and sustainable problems like disasters and ecological problems. According to the IPBES report, the global biodiversity is also on the decline, which has already caused serious consequences to our economy and food security. And according to a report about 10 years ago, climate change, biodiversity loss, and the natural cycle has exceeded 9 critical Earth system, planetary boundaries. And the updated report says that there's a high risk of forever cycle and the land system changes. Because our humans have many needs for the world, and we need to have resources and extract resources from nature, including energy, food, and we also have the societal needs like a disaster resilience, health, and governance. So this comes to conflict between the human and nature. So we need to have a new way of development, that is a sustainable development. This concept was first proposed in the conference on January 21st in 1987, and it has already become a major scientific research direction in our geography field. And there has been many global research programs related to this project, including the Global Environmental Change Programs and the recent Future Earth research programs. And in 2015, the United Nations launched a new Global Sustainable Development Goals for the world. It proposed 17 major different sustainable development goals. And the Sustainable Development Goals sets a blueprint to achieve a better and more sustainable future, and without leaving anyone behind. And this, the original goal was to achieve all of them by 2030. However, a recent report published 3 years ago stated that right now it seems we are likely to achieve all the initial goals by 2030, according to the current path. So actually, there are so many challenges for sustainability from the natural, economic, and social factors. If we analyze the 17 Sustainable Development Goals proposed by the United Nations, we will find that about half of these goals are related to the environment and the natural resources. That's also the strength of our geography field. Therefore, we believe that geography is one of the most important key for sustainable development, because geography is a discipline that seeks to collaborate, understanding the interaction between the earth and the human. And it also focuses on the mechanisms of the interactions between the human and the environment. Therefore, geography can offer a holistic view to unify the social and the natural sciences. Therefore, we conclude that the geography was born for Earth's future and sustainability. The second part is geography and sustainability. This part is from the editorial from the journal Geography and Sustainability by Bo-Jie Fu. So we want to know that what is the research progress on the topic of geography and sustainability. So we use the Web of Science database, and we use the keyword geography and sustainability or related words to do the literature searching. And we find more than 1,000 publications on this topic. The first article was published in 1990. And right now, after 2010, the publications occupied about 97% of them. This marked the sharp increase in the research on geography and sustainability. So we also extract the titles and the abstracts, and we use the word chart to show the change in the hot topics through the 30 years. So we can see that over the 30 years, the social, economic, environmental, ecology systems, those are hot words for the geography and sustainability research. And from over 3 decades, we can see there's a gradual transition with more focus on urbanization, social, and policy perspectives. If we look at the study areas, we'll find the geography area is still the dominant, followed by the environmental science and ecology. Those are also important areas that contribute a lot for the geography and sustainability research direction. And we also look at the hot words in the last 10 years, the top 50 words. This including the research subjects like geography, sustainability, and landscape ecology. As for the research framework, our searching results shows that the coupled human and natural systems, the human and environmental systems, like social and ecology systems, and social and environmental systems, these actually are very similar things, but with different naming. As for the research objects, we find that the research mainly focused on the climate change and land use change, food, energy, and water nexus, tourism and culture, and industrial and health. And we also find that there are more attention being paid to urban urban areas and urban-related research. And as for the geography processes, these are the main driving mechanisms of sustainable development, like the spatial scale and the geography process, and these spatial scale-related issues are the main topics. We also find that the policy and the management related topics are also play a very important role, including policy, like strategic plan management, government, and so on. We have skipped, and according to the research scales, we'll find the regional research and the global research are the hot issues. We also find that the geodata and modeling for sustainable development are also attract more attention recently. Lastly, it is education for sustainable development, which we believe is also very important to achieve sustainability. The third part is how to promote geography for sustainability. We believe we should deepen the research on geography and sustainability for Earth's future. So this is a framework showing interactions between the Earth's surface processes, resource ecology, and Earth's system modeling and simulation, as well as their supporting role for the regional and global sustainable development. Specifically, there are 5 research directions that we believe are very important for sustainability. That is, somehow this hide my screen. Let me see. Okay, the first is integrating research on multiple processes of water, soil, air, and ecosystem. This direction includes soil, water, air interactions and their ecological effects, the mechanisms of biogeochemical process on Earth's surface system. Third is Earth spheres interactions and their responses to global changes. The second research direction is the cascades of ecosystem structure, functioning, and services, including regime shifts of ecosystem structure and function, as well as their environmental effects. Second is the maintenance mechanisms of ecosystem service, formation, and the human well-being. The third one is the land use trade-offs and regional ecological security. The third research direction is the feedback mechanisms between the natural and the social systems, including the resilience and capacity boundaries of the social ecological systems, quantifying human activities and their environmental impacts, coupling the effects of natural and the human factors and their feedback mechanisms. The fourth one is the structure matching and the coupling of natural and the social system at different scales. The fourth one is the mechanisms and approaches and policies for sustainable development, including water, energy, and food nexus and their collaborative management. The second one is the complexity and their interlinkage among sustainable development goals. The last one is the implementation and policy achievement of SDGs. The last one is the data model and simulation of sustainable development, including data and simulation, machine learning, and integrated model and decision supporting tools for sustainable development. And the second part to promote geography for sustainability is to launch some global research programs on these topics. So we already have many global research programs in the past, but what about for the future? So we have the global dryland ecosystem programs. It is a platform for global research collaboration on dryland ecosystems. It is established by the Chinese Academy of Science, and we have this framework of the research project of this research program. We have the global dryland ecosystem changes and their driving forces, changes in the structure and functioning of the dryland systems, and we have the aspect related to society, like ecosystem services and their linkage to human well-being, as well as the dryland ecosystem management and sustainable livelihoods. The third one is to establish some international organizations on geography and sustainability. For example, our IGU has established the Geography for Future Earth, a coupled human and Earth system for Sustainability Commission in 2017. And Professor Wenwu Jiao is the chair of this commission, and I'm the secretary of this commission. The fourth one is to provide education on geography and sustainability for the world. For example, we have the Global Action Program Education for Sustainable Development as a follow-up to the United Nations Decades for Education. And for the Beijing Normal University, we also established the first faculty of geography and geography sciences by merging the different subjects, disciplines of geography into a bigger, a stronger one. The last one is to establish journals on geography and sustainability. Our literature review shows that the geography and sustainability related topics are mainly published in journals like GeoForum, Sustainability, and so on. And there's no flagship journals specifically on geography and sustainability. So we launched a new journal, Geography and Sustainability, in 2020. And this journal is a collaboration with, published by Elsewhere and in collaboration with IGU. And the journal has 5 thematic areas, including geographical processes, ecosystem service and human well-being, human environmental systems, sustainable development, and geodata and model for sustainability. This is the first issue of the journal published last year. That's all for my talk. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you, Professor Yan Lee, presenting a beautiful presentation on various aspects of sustainable development on behalf of Professor Wenwu Jiao. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you.
Now, friends, we are now at the end of this panel discussion. So all the 5 speakers, they have put their thoughts in a very systematic manner, and wide spectrum of prosperity and peace has been included in all the presentations. So I would like to congratulate all the speakers for presenting their experiences and thoughts in this panel discussion. Friends, you know that geography have a long history of studying geography of prosperity and peace. Throughout the 19th century and 20th century, as geography became an established part of university curriculum, particularly in the United States of America and Europe, and partly in India, was adopted as a perspective for the natural phenomena. And Ratzel, Mackinder, Bruns, they have highlighted this and they expressed their views on this particular aspect. Few scholars of geography expressed to support a role for the discipline in achieving peace, and almost the discipline having at best a morally neutral functionalist perspective. The role of geography and geographers and war over past 2 centuries were divided into war-minded camps that saw war as legitimate expression of competition between states, and peace-minded camps that promoted international cooperation. In the United States of America, during World War II, geographers played a significant role in Office of Strategic Services. Since 11 September 2001, 9/11, geographers have refocused their concern not only on the effects of new technologies of violence facilitated by sophisticated and spatial data bases, but also on the potential for geographical technology in preventing and mitigating violence in different parts of the world. One of our greatest challenges today is to identify and assess the many complex and overlapping factors that influence the development of peace or the escalation of conflict where geography and life reside. Climate change represents one of the most significant but less understood risks for escalating armed conflicts. Several studies suggest that the risk for increased militarization and conflict come from competition for water resources that complicate the peace process, food security, worsening economic and social stability, increase in forced migration, increased militarization, and distress among the people. All these issues are of immense concern to geographers working in different parts of the world. And most of the speakers, they have highlighted some of the technological issues and how to measure conflict and prosperity. There is a close relation between peace and economic development in today's world. Global Peace Index produced by the Institute of Economic and Peace in the World, leading measures of global peacefulness. Its 2018 report found that in last 70 years, per capita growth has been 3 times higher in highly peaceful countries with low levels of peace. However, some say that colonial legacy, low human development, inequality, geography, natural disasters are contributing factors for low level of development in conflict-prone countries of the world. But peace is also essential prerequisite for economic development. Peace creates a stable environment wherein business can flourish and government can function, ensuring rule of law. Afghanistan is the prime example of the country wherein the absence of peace has led a devastating impact on the economic development. This country has been in a constant state of violence and civil war since Soviet invasion in 1979. Second largest refugees in the world. So what I want to convey is this, that the competition between resources and environment has created a system in the world that there is a greed of resources by developed countries or developing countries until unless this greed for resources is not curbed, the peace cannot be prevailed. Because Mahatma Gandhi has very rightly pointed out that earth provides enough to satisfy every man's need, not every man's greed. So until unless the greed, competition for resources in developing and developed countries is reduced, I think the peace in the world cannot prevail. And I think in this way, geographers can play a very important role in achieving peace and prosperity in the world. With these few comments, I would like to stop myself and I request Professor Joe to say a few words in the end. Professor Joe.
Thank you, Professor Mr. Sharma. It has been a great opportunity to listen to the stalwarts of Indian geographers. Almost all of the speakers have touched upon different aspects of the subject on prosperity and peace. To my mind, I may slightly differ. It reminds me a Sanskrit shloka. The last line of that says, Ksanatyage kuto vidya, kanatyage kuto dhanam. If I want to have prosperity, I have to compromise with the peace. And if I just keep on following the peace, the prosperity is miles away from me. However, it was a nice opportunity, rather a great opportunity. I congratulate all the speakers and I thank the organizers for giving me an opportunity to co-chair the session. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir, especially to Professor Jayabhai and his team for meticulously organizing this international e-conference. And every session has been designed so nicely and information has been given to each and every participants who are participating in it. I think this is creditable and I congratulate Professor Jayabhai for achieving this. Thank you very much, sir.
Okay, thank you very much for your praising words to all of us. In the beginning, it was given instruction to me, don't read the biodatas, don't waste the time because we want to listen such a great personality. But we have these our tradition, and in that hurry also I forgot to mention the just Professor K.R. Dikshit. People are aware about. I'm not going to read or say about the Professor K.R. Dikshit, but only one thing I can say. Whatever the good words we are getting from the academia about the organizing, the main source of this is the Professor K.R. Dikshit. Because we look at him at the age of 94, the way he think about the geography, the way he take the task and about the give the vision, what should be geographer do in 21st century, and taking to the historical, to the futuristic approach. I think that we believe that he at this age having such kind of diverse and so updated kind of thing. So this is, I think, true introduction of Professor K.R. Dikshit, no doubt his fatherly figure. And that is the true source of inspiration, what we are doing, mainly because of that. So on the behalf of the Department of Geography, Savitribai Phule Pune University and Institute of Indian Geographer, I extend my sincere thanks to all the distinguished professors of the country, Professor K.R. Dikshit, Professor H.N. Mishra, Professor Rana P.B. Singh, Professor Shubhnanam, Professor Yan Lee. It's very nice presentation is given what we are discussing about and he has given some statistical information how sustainability the word has been actually incorporated in geography. It was evolved truly in 1970s, but it was actually incorporated properly in the 21st century. So thanks you're sparing the time and giving a good insight about it. And also obviously to the Professor H.S. Sharma is also source of inspiration. Whenever we require any kind of help, any kind of guidance, so always consult to the H.S. Sharma, we get the correct approach or correct guidance about anything what we plan for the any activity in IIG platform or in the department. So thanks Professor H.S. Sharma for accepting our invitation and chairing session. Professor S.R. Zog is our teacher and he has groomed us actually what today we are actually. So thanks S.R. Zog, I feel proud to be here on this occasion as a co-chair. And obviously the audience, so people are here, maximum participants across the country from different universities, senior professors, some of the students, some of my colleagues, and some of the friends. So we are patiently listening for the last 2 hours and making this panel discussion successful. So again, thanks to all of you for the present. Now immediately we start the function. Our chief guest, Mr. Satish Khandare, who is the IGP of the Ladakh. Actually, he's the head of the police of Ladakh. He had joined the session. Another chief guest is our Pro Vice Chancellor, Rumrani sir. He was trying to join this valedictory function, but Governor of Maharashtra, Chancellor, he's in the university. So all the officials are stuck up with that. So they send the message for his best wishes for the valedictory function, and he congratulated us for what we have been doing last 3 days. So this function is actually this panel discussion function is over, and immediately we'll start the valedictory function. So I request those who are in charge of this valedictory function, they can immediately initiate the function.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Professor Jaibai, sir. Hello, everyone. हे चमक मेरी निगाहों में, हे चमक मेरी निगाहों में, बुलंदी है ख्यालों में, हे चमक मेरी निगाहों में, बुलंदी है ख्यालों में, मैं पत्थर से भी टकरा कर उसे रीजा रीजा कर दूंगी। इस इंस्टीट्यूट ने जो मुझे दिया है, इस इंस्टीट्यूट ने जो मुझे मौका दिया है, एक नया वलवला, कुछ उम्मीद की किरणें, कुछ कर गुजरने का जज्बा, कि मैं ढूंढूं रास्ता खुद अपनी मंजिलों का। So thanks to the Department of Geography, one of the best department in the country, and thanks to the Savitribai Phule Pune University, one of the best university in the world. So myself, Dr. Sapna Sasani, on behalf of Department of Geography, Savitribai Phule University, and Indian Institute of Geographer, I welcome you all in this valedictory function. So Namaskar, Adab, Sat Sri Akal, good evening, Namaste, Jai Shri Krishna, Ram Ram, hello, and very good evening to all of you, and very, very warm welcome to this absolutely wonderful, beautiful valedictory function that brings together so many special persons like you. Thank you so much for being here with us. So actually this 3 days annual meet and the international conference, it was truly a harmonious journey in this 3 days international conference, very enriching experience, a very good deliberation in the panel discussion, as well as in the technical session, as well as in the plenary session. So I thank all of you for being with us. So now let us proceed further. I would like to request our head of department, Professor Ravindrajit Jaibai, Secretary General of Indian Institute of Geographer, to give the report about this 3 days international conference. He is such a versatile and dynamic professor, and under his guidance, we could organize successfully this conference, and all credit, all success lies in his true efforts and administration. So I would like to request Professor Ajit Jaibai, over to you, sir.
Good evening to one and all. Respected Chief Guest, Mr. Satish Khandare, IPS. Presently, he's Inspector General of Police, Head of Police, is Ladakh. He's the first Head of the Police of the Union Territory of Ladakh. Chief Guest of Honor, Honorable Vice Chancellor, Pro Vice Chancellor Umrani Sir, Professor M.N. Kaul, is the IIG President, Professor K.R. Dikshit, Patron IIG, all the distinguished geographers of the country, plenary speakers, and chairs of the sessions, today's all the respected speakers, colleagues from the department, governing council member of the IIG, invited dignitaries and participants. I'm very happy to welcome you, all of you, to this valedictory function of 42nd IIG annual meet, an international web conference on geography for people, planet, prosperity, and peace on the online platform for 4 to 6 October 2020. The event was special as it was possible for all attendees to participate throughout the conference on online, participated with minimum obstacle exception of few technical glitches. Initially, I would brief about the participation. This is our department. So I'm going to read the report of the next 3 days. So inaugural function of this chief guest of the inaugural function was the Honorable Vice Chancellor, Professor Nitin Kalmarkar. Guest of honor were the IIG President, Professor IIG President, Professor M.N. Kaur, and Patron IIG, Professor K.R. Dixit. We are honored the opening ceremony to count with the excellence address by the Honorable Vice Chancellor, Professor Nitin Karmalkar. He addressed the capabilities of the earth scientists while dealing with challenges to sustaining people, earth, development, and peace. Our Honorable Vice Chancellor always emphasized that conference should have good lectures which will enlighten the young geographers, and also sufficient time should be given to young geographers. The IIG also believes in it, and since its inception, executing in their annual meet, seminar, and workshop. There were the two during the inaugural function. So first lecture is given by the Dr. Panin Andrei, Deputy Director, Institute of Geography, Russian Academy of Sciences, and he spoke on glacial outburst mega floods in northern Eurasia. Presidential address given by the Professor M.N. Kaur, Himalayan glacier, climate change, and human population of Ladakh, an overview of cold desert of India. There were the two keynote address. First keynote address given by the Nikki Flodier, and the chair of this session was the Sri Kumar Chattopadhyay. And topic was the climate change, the past, current, and future role of relative sea level rise in geocultural heritage. Second keynote address was given by the Professor D.K. Naik, Professor Department of Geography from the Northeastern Hill University, Shillong, and Professor Bhagat from the Indian Institute of Population, Mumbai. He spoke on the geography of inequality and international perspectives. There were the, because I'm managing both the things, little bit things are speaking. With this perspective, the 3-day function was designed, and the feedback from the participants found it well for expectation. There is the response of the conference was satisfactory. More than 350 participants registered from all over the country to share their thoughts, experience, and to collaborate with the debates about the themes of the conference. There were 8 plenary sessions. In that, 50-minute scholar spoke on the area of expertise, also directly, indirectly related to the theme. So this was the first plenary session. There was the chair is the Sunil Kumarde, A.R. Siddiqui is the co-chair, then Takeshi Uguchi from Japan, then Uklichi Choglowski from the Poland, then Sunondo Bandopandya from Kolkata, then Mehti from the Vidyasagar University, West Bengal, and Padmini Pani from the CSRD. This was the second plenary session. Professor Suryakant from the Punjab University, Chandigarh, Shoaib Fazal from the Aligarh Muslim University, Aligarh, then Professor Henrik Elskle. Actually, he couldn't able to join because of the time confusion, but again, he tried yesterday. But again, it was delayed, but he was also eager to participate. Then Samir Unare is the State Joint Commissioner of Municipal Administration, Government of Maharashtra, Mumbai. Then Malik Akram Hussain from the Bangladesh. Then Mahesh Bhagwat is IPS, and presently is a Commissioner of Police. Rajesh Konda from the Telangana, and Umesh Mandal from the Nepal. Then in plenary session, the Professor Hema Malini was the chair, Department of Geography, Andhra Pradesh, Visakhapatnam. Naresh Bagmar from the Raipur. Then there were the speakers from the S. Rikesh from the JMU. Then Roxy Matthew from the Indian Institute of Tropical Meteorology, Pune. Then Srikant Karlikar from the Pune. Then Ashish Kumar Paul from the Vidyasagar University, West Bengal. Parvez Ahmed from the University of Kashmir. Then another plenary session on the same day, Sachidanand Sinha from the JNU was the chair. Then Niladri Das from the Sayajirao Gaikwad University, Vadodara, was the co-chair, and the speakers were Vinod Bhardwaj from the Rajasthan, then Priya Narayanan from the Bangalore, then the Sarfaraz Alam from the BHU Varanasi, and Ashok Hanjkai from the University of Bangalore. Then in the evening session, specifically focus on the geospatial technology. The Raghoswamy sir from the NRSC Hyderabad was the speaker. Then R. Jaglan from the Madras University, Somnath Ghoshal from the IIT Kharagpur, and B.R. Thakur from the Himachal Pradesh University. Respected K. Kumar Swamy was the chair, is the Emeritus Professor, ICSSR, Senior Fellow from the Bharatidasan University, Tiruchirappalli, and Sulochana Shekhar from the Tiruvar University, Central University of Tamil Nadu. Then another parallel session on the same day, same time, Krishnamohan sir Professor Krishnamohan was the chair, Department of Geography, Punjab University, Chandigarh. B.C. Nagesh was the co-chair, Usmana University, Hyderabad. And the speakers for these sessions were Saptarshi Mitra from the Tripura University, then Kiran Bairanwar from the Delhi School of Economics, Department of Geography, University of Delhi, Tarun Bansal from the Jamia Millia University, then Avantika from the Kansas State University, United States, then Jitendra Soni from the Rajasthan. Then on these sessions on on physical geography specifically, A.P. Bhagwati sir from the Guwahati University was the chair. Then S.C. Rai from the Department of Geography, Delhi University was the co-chair. Bob Nakiliza from the Uganda. Then Dharmasiri sir from the Sri Lanka. Then B.W. Pandey sir from the Delhi University. Vishwabandhu Singh Chande from the Punjab University, Chandigarh. And Vishwambar Prasad Sati from the University of Mizoram as well. So, and the last session was today held. Anandita Datta, Professor, Department of Geography, Delhi School of Economics, University of Delhi. Then Sarina Kalia from the Rajasthan University. And these were the speakers. Syed Zenifa Jahan from the University of National University of Singapore. Then Anu Sablok from Aisar Mohali. Then Aparna Farked from the Mumbai University. Then Vikramaditya Chaudhary from the Jawaharlal University. And Seema Jalan from the Udaipur University. Recently, just before this beginning of valid reflection, there was the panel discussion. H.S. Sharma was the chair, then Professor S.R. Zog was the co-chair, then Professor K.R. Dixit, Professor H.N. Misha, Rana P.B. Singh, Professor Shivagnam, and Professor Wanju Jhao. So Yanli is presented on the behalf of Wanju Jhao. So this was the function happened about the all the plenary sessions. And they almost cover major issue what today we discuss about the climate change, the sustainable development goals, social equality, then issue of equity, then the biodiversity, then extremes events, then disaster management, and so on. So there are list of the things, but I just want to skip it because we want to hear the students based also. So lectures covers conceptual, methodological, theorizing, and applied aspects of the subject and reveal strength of the subject. The chair also explains importance of the topics. In all, total 175 papers shortlisted for the presentations in the conference, and were 32 technical sessions on the different theme. Each session has the 5 to 6 presentation as per the theme of the topics and designed to have sufficient time to the presenter. And there had active participation of geographer in respective sessions. Out of that, 95% are presented. So dropout ratio is very insignificant. That was also mainly because of health and some administrative responsibility. There were good discussion during the each session after the presentation of the participants. There were 32 lead lectures in these 32 technical sessions. The 32 lead lectures of scholars from the different institutions from across the country allowed to participate to learn about the research experience in the context of approaches as well as theoretical and applied aspects of research methodology. So quickly, because they have contributed a lot, I just want to be accurate quickly about what I will take the name quickly. So those who chair the sessions. Sunil Gaikwad from the SU College, Pune, then Sushmita Chauhan from the Mumbai University, then Mahabir Jaglan sir from the Kurukshetra University, then Subhash Anand, Delhi University, then Mr. Suryavanshi from the Aurangabad University, Gopa Samanta from the Burdwan University, then Mr. Panarkar from the Shivaji University, Subhash Nikam from the College, Nimgaon College from Nashik, then Anarga Dhorde, Professor Department of Geography, Nauroji Wadia College. Then there was another session, Professor Suchitra Pardesi, Professor Ramkrishna More Arts College in Pune, NC Jana from the Burdwan University, Jyotiram More, who is the BOS chairman of our university from the BGS College Pune, Then Prabir Kumar Rath from the Goa. Then Sudhakar Pardesi from the Savitribai Phule Pune University. Then Suresh Mada from the Madras University. So Praveen Saptarshi, Emeritus Professor, Savitribai Phule Pune University. Bimal Kar from the Guwahati University. The another session was chaired by the Professor T.K. Prasad from the Kannur University, Kerala. Then Professor Virendra Nagrale from the SNDT University. Professor Swati Rajput from the Bhagat Singh College, University of Delhi. Then Praveen Pathak from the Jamia Millia University. Then Professor Yanar Das from the MS University, Baroda. Then Atikur Rahman, Professor Atikur Rahman from the Jamia Millia University. Then Sanjukta Sapta from the Mumbai University. Then Dr. Chandrayudu from the Sri Venkateshwara University, Tirupati. Then Professor Sambhaji Shinde from the Shivaji University. Sachin Devre from the SNDT University. Purva Yadav from the JNU. Then Ujwala Khare from the Department of Geography, Nauriji College. Then Sachinder Singh from the MD University, Rohtak. Then B. Chandrasekhara from the Mysore University. Then Mahesh Tripathi, Professor Manisha Tripathi from the Department of Geography, Kumaon University, Nainital, Uttarakhand. And Dr. Gatade, the former head DP Bhosle College, Koregaon. And Professor K.C. Ramotra from the Shivaji University, and Arun Andale is the principal in one college. So these were the 32 lead lectures, and there were the 32 co-chairs actually took part in the discussion. I must still, as mentioned above, this could become possible to all eminent geographers of the country who agreed and joined here in short notice and spare their valuable time and experience to enrich fellow geographers. I must mention the university authorities for their financial and administrative sanctions. An encouragement was for the quick decisions that enable us to focus more on this academic endeavor. Since the beginning, the approval and support of the university authorities was fundamental for this event to happen. Thanks to Honorable Vice Chancellor, VC, Pro Vice Chancellor, then Registrar, Dean, and all other office bearers. I would like to complete by expressing my eternal gratitude to all my faculty, staff, then this non-teaching staff, then graduate and undergraduate students that made this meet possible. I must acknowledge the guidance provided to invite such a large number of eminent and knowledgeable resources. These are Professor Sunil Kumar De, Professor Veena Doshi, Professor H.S. Sharma, Professor Suryakant, Professor D.K. Nayak, Professor Sarfraz Alam, Professor Shah Fazal, Professor Ruli Kanchan, Professor Yanar Das, Professor Anilita Datta, Professor Praveen Kokne, Professor K.R. Bichi. My sincere thanks to all of them. I believe in the philosophy we, because we can unite together, we can work together. The support from the department, Professor Veena Doshi, Professor Sudhakar Pardesi, Professor Amit Dode, Dr. Sapna Sassani, Dr. Avinash Kandekar, Dr. Hemlata Patel, Dr. Ajay Gawari, Dr. Swapnil Vyas, Mr. Ravindra Mede, Dr. Swadaipa Naik, Mr. Ramesh Nanaure, Ms. Kajal Saukare, Mr. Anand Pathak. They worked very consistently in all the sessions, and they took the care of all the technical support. They played very crucial part in the executing day-to-day proceeding of the function. The non-teaching staff of the department was worked day and night to bring out all our ideas on paper and execute all the sessions and also communication to all of them. I must mention here, because last 15 days, day and night, we worked. Last 3 days, we actually were in the department up to the 11 or 12 o'clock. And Rajasri Chaudhary, whatever the email you got and whatever the report she has prepared, I think she worked extensively and she really deserves for the great appreciation on this subject. Another is Mr. Nishikant Kuday. He has also worked very extensively, whatever the flyer we have prepared. He helped a lot making the flyer, abstract, and some rest of the things. In addition to that, Pradeep Doshi's help in the finance, Ms. Sangeeta Janjale, Mr. Nitin Jagtap, Mr. Rohan Kambe, Ms. Sushma Sarvi, Mr. Sushant Balero, and Ms. Mansi Devi, all these people were. They contributed in the preparation and managing all the small and not too small details that emerged during the 4 days of this event. With this work, I would like to conclude my conference proceeding. Again, I am grateful to the university authorities, colleagues from the department, all invited speakers and dignitaries and participants for their full support. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much, Professor Ravindraji Jaibhai, convener of this international conference, and Professor and Head, Department of Geography, Savitribai Phule Pune University, and Secretary General, Indian Institute of Geographers. I think you must be agree with me that you have given enough justice to the theme of this international conference, that is geography for people, planet, prosperity, and peace. Many eminent geographers all over the country and abroad grace this occasion with their valuable presence and share their massive work as well as share their views among the all August gathering on this platform. So thank you so much, Professor Jaibhai sir, for your kind appreciation, for your word of appreciation towards your colleagues and detailed reporting about this conference. Thank you all. Now, I would like to request Professor M.N. Cole sir, President of Indian Institute of Geography, to share your views. Professor M.N. Cole.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon to all delegates and senior professors, ladies and gentlemen. It is a great honor and privilege for me to be here on the valedictory function and welcome the chief guest, Mr. Satish Khandare, IPS, Inspector General of Police and Head of the Police Union Territory of Ladakh, Honorable Pro Vice Chancellor, Professor Anas Umarani, Chairman of the function, respected Professor K.R. Dixit, Patron of IIG, Professor R.J. Jayabai, Convener of the meet and Head of Department of Geography, SSP, and Secretary General of IIG. I would like to express my special thanks to organizing committee members for organizing such a wonderful 3-day show and wonderful 3-day show for organizing 42nd IIG annual meet as an international e-conference organized by jointly Department of Geography, Savitribai Phule Pune University and IIG. Further, I want to thank the organizers, particularly the convener, the way they have prepared the whole program and meticulously attended each and every activity of the participants. That is a fabulous one. Really, my hats are off. At the outset, I want to mention that the Institute of Indian Geographers proved a meeting ground for research scholars, teachers, renowned academicians of India and abroad to share the platform for their knowledge under the umbrella of IIG and Department of Geography to interact and share their ideas. As a part of 3 days function, nearly 300 delegates have deliberated over the diverse field of physical and human geography in context of the focal theme of geography for people, planet, prosperity, and peace in 34 technical sessions. As Professor Jayabai has given in detail the details of the each and every function, in this section, I will be giving only a concise account. In the inaugural function, Professor Andrei Pan, Russian academician of sciences, delivered upon the glacial outbursts of megafloods in northern Eurasia. After the inaugural function, the two keynote addresses by distinguished speakers and authorities on physical geography as well as a human geography, particularly Professor Inequality of Faculty of Geology, Geoenvironment of National and Cappadocia University, Athens. Professor Chattopadhyay was the chairman of the session who gave the keynote address. It was followed by another keynote address on human geography by Professor D.K. Naik, Professor, Department of Geography, Nehru University, Shillong, whereas Professor R.B. Bhagat, the head of the Migration and Urban Studies of the International Institute of Population Science. Then followed by the plenary sections were held in eight numbers, 4 each in physical and human geography, deliberated upon the different aspects of geography in relation to the theme of the conference. The notable international researchers and academicians like Professor Takashahi Oguchi of the Spatial Information Science, University of Tokyo, Wokji, Zobik Institute of the Earth Environment Studies, Poland, Sunando Bando Upadhyay of Calcutta University gave a detailed account on the physical landscape. In the human geography, Professor Andrich Alliston, Department of Geography, Chile, Professor Malik Akram Hussain, Dhaka University, Bangladesh, and distinguished administrators from police as well as from the municipality attended the seminar and presented their report about the papers. The prominent among them was Mahesh Bhagwati, IPS Commissioner of Police, Telangana, Professor Anrish Haste, University of Chile, Professor Umesh Mandal, Kathmandu of Nepal, and Samir Haq, Joint Commissioner, Municipality. This was followed by a detailed discussion in a plenary session by Hema Malini, who spoke on climate change along with Rocky Matthew Cole of the Indian Institute of Meteorology. On the plenary section, one plenary section was held on geospatial technologies. Geospatial technology. I once again thank the organizers for organizing the 3 days program very meticulously, and I congratulate all the youngsters, particularly my young friends, young geographers who have worked overzealously for last 15 days, as Professor Jayabai has announced that they were working day and night to make this conference successful. And the credit goes to actually those youngsters who have been all along working and planning the things as meticulously as they could. Thank you all once again. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. You are a true inspiration for us. The IIG President M.N. Cole. The IIG strives to promote geographical knowledge by research, teaching, and such of the activities will directly or indirectly lead to the growth and the development of a geography subject. And thank you so much, sir, for sharing your views on this occasion. Now I'd like to welcome, actually, it's a turn to today's our guest of honor, Santish Khandare, an officer of 1995 batch of Indian Police Service. So before I welcome him, I would like to request Swapnil to give his brief introduction. So you are welcome, and Jai Hind, sir. Swapnil, over to you.
Yes, thank you, ma'am. So it's my privilege to welcome and introduce our guest of honor, Sri Satish Khandare, sir. Sri Satish Khandare, he is the Inspector General of Police, Head of Police of the Union Territory of Ladakh. Sir has completed his basic education in instrumentation engineering, and after that he joined the Indian Police Services in the year 1995. So he has served as the Superintendent of Police District of Riyasi in Jammu and Superintendent of Police District Budgam of Kashmir. In recognition of his various commendable policing works during his service in Jammu and Kashmir, he has been awarded with the Director General of Police Jammu and Kashmir Commendation Medal in the year 2003. He has also worked as on deputation with the Maharashtra Police, and he has worked as a Superintendent of Police in Hingoli and Deputy Commissioner of Police in Pune. Sir has served as the Central Reserve Police Force and Deputy Commissioner of Police in Pune and Deputy Inspector General from April 2010 to April 2012. He has worked as Deputy Inspector General of Police in operation in Central Reserve Police Forces in Gadchiroli. And he has also participated in various anti-Naxal operations in Gadchiroli. For his hard work and commendable work to control crime and anti-Naxal activities, he was awarded with the Police Medal and Meritorious Service in the year 2012 and was awarded the Director General Central Reserve Police Force Commendation Disc in the year 2011. So Satish sir has also been an officer of the Central Industrial Security Forces in the rank of Deputy Inspector General of Police in the year 2014. He was posted as the Deputy Inspector General CISF of the Western Zone Headquarters in Navi Mumbai. He was in charge of the Inspector General of Police, Central Industrial Security Forces, West Sector of Mumbai. So presently, Sir is the officer Sir is serving as the head of the police in the Union Territory of Ladakh since October 2020, and he is looking after the entire policing and law of orders issue in the Union Territory of Ladakh. So, sir, it's our privilege to have you as the chief guest for this session. So I welcome you once again. Thank you.
Thank you very much. It is really my honor to be participating in this kind of conferences where the eminent geographical are participating and deliberating on various aspects of geography. So thank you once again. Today, who are present in this function, Mr. Kaul, President of IIG, Umrani Sir, Pro Vice Chancellor of Savitribai Phule University, Pune, and of course, my good friend and convener of this conference and head of the Department of Geography Department of Pune University, Mr. Jaibai. Firstly, I would like to congratulate Mr. Jaibai and his entire team for organizing this wonderful conference where various eminent people from the field of geography participated in this conference and shared their knowledge in this virtual or e-conference. I am sure this must have been immense help to all the participants who have participated in this conference. Let me confess, I am not a student of geography, so I have very little knowledge about geography. But presently, I am working in Ladakh as police chief for last 2 years, and whatever observation I make here, that will be out of my own personal experience, and I will not claim any scholarship for that. As everybody is aware, Ladakh is very unique geographical place, and it is valued as such for that. This place is called a land of high passes. You have mountains, you have valleys here. This is a region which is beyond Himalaya, and and in between Himalaya and Karakoram. It is called cold desert also. So there are various geographical challenge of this place. The environment, the ecosystem is very sensitive here. There are already, I mean, local people are already complaining that glaciers are getting shrinking, and a lot of climate changes are happening in these places. So I would request all the eminent geographical scholars to undertake geographical study, I mean, in this part of our country. A lot of unnatural, I mean, phenomena are also happening in this place over the year. It may be a cloudburst, or it may be a glacial lake outburst flow. I was told there are around or more than 1,000 glacial lake in Indus basin, and as we were looking for some kind of data around it, so we found out that actually no scientific study has been done about these glacial lake. So I think this is a challenge to all eminent scholar from the field of geography to conduct studies in this part of the country. After formation of UT, a lot of things are also happening in Ladakh region. Tourism is a dominant economic activity in Ladakh region, and there is a need to develop a tourism in a sustainable way in Ladakh region. As it was earlier stated, it has very fragile ecosystem. Ladakh also have a very precious wildlife which need to be, I mean, required to be preserved. So all these are, I mean, challenges while developing this place, and the Union Territory Administration is taking due care of development with proper sensitivity towards environment and geography of this place. I will once again, I mean, thank you, Mr. Zaibai, for giving me this opportunity to participate in this kind of highest level of gathering of scholars of geography, and I hope the studies in the field of geography will immensely benefit a region like Ladakh in future. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. From the bottom of my heart, I really pay my rich tribute to the Indian Police Service, and such a geographically challenged area you are serving. I really pay a huge respect from my side, sir. So thank you so much, and Jai Hind, sir. Now, I would like to request our real hero, Professor K.R. Dixit, sir. He is a patron of IIG, Indian Institute of Geography, to share your views on this platform. Professor K.R. Dixit. In the beginning of this session only, sir has introduced him. So I would like to request him to share his views directly.
Okay, just check it whether sir is disconnected or what.
Okay.
हाँ सर आपको अनाउंस किया है सर, आपको बुलाया। Okay, I just spoke to the Professor K.R. Dikshit and some again the problem with his computer, and it is resolved within 2 to 3 minutes. So we'll wait for the 2 to 3 minutes because is a valedictory remark. Actually, closing remark always gives some kind of vision, kind of futuristic approach. So to think about the geography, so definitely it's very valuable to all of us. I must say, Khandare sir, because he has been working in a service for the last for more than 25 years and immensely contributed to the police service. His contribution to the Nakshal areas when in Maharashtra. So he worked in the Nakshal area and tried to be taken care. What today we are discussing about the development and peace. So which is very much close to the, these are the practitioners. What we discuss in theoretically, the people ask, same thing happened with the Mahesh Bhagwat. He's also worked in that area. So they not only did the policing also, but they also looked into that, what is the root cause of why there is a not peace, there is the unrest in that area. So taking to the understanding their problem, taking to the development issues. So I think they took the issues and they were quite successful. Government of India recognized for their service. And even I have seen the sirs for this Ladakh region presently, but in Kashmir also, and very sensitive areas. He extensively worked for the making the restoring the peace in the such a sensitive area. But that is again more important. When we look at the policing, we look at the law and order point of view. But I have seen that these officers, these are the people, these are the leaders actually. They are taking this humanistic approach also. And I think that's truly what today we are discussing. It's very much close to that. So, Satish, I'm really grateful actually you make it this possible to be here and share the things. Professor M.N. Kaul sir also extensively worked in the Ladakh. Who is our IIG president. And he worked on the glaciers, the changing climate change, glacial relationship, and so on. Sir, before that, sir, if you highlight that in 2 to 5 minutes, so till the Professor K.R. Dikshit will be again, the thing will be a normal and she will be with us. Sunil Kumar, you want to say something? You have raised the hand.
Yes, I was planning to say.
Yeah. Satish sir, Sunil Kumar Dey is the professor in Department of Geography, Eastern Hill University, Shillong, and he's very eminent geomorphologist. And
Firstly,
okay.
Let me thank you and the whole team of your department to organize this conference in a befitting manner. And we are very much happy to participate this one. Next one, I have a proposal. I want to use this platform. As a Professor K.R. Dikshit, he think and he intends that in 2024, we are going to complete this 100 years of geography in India. Say, that's why we need to organize something on this to celebrate this 100 years of geography in India, as well as to publish some book on the geographical thoughts those are developed through different geographers from the very beginning, and we publish a book and to release it on that occasion. So I think we need to think this issue. This is a vital issue, and we can work together to organize this 100 years of geography, as well as to publish a book on different aspects on the development of Indian geographical thought. So this is my proposal. I once again thank you, all the dignitaries here, including Professor Kaul sir, and to be here. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Very good suggestion. It is a very good suggestion. Rather, we will be glad to have a such sort of a thing if you can take an initiative and just see it is accomplished.
Yes.
By the time we in a hurry, we forgot to take generally during the validity function, we take the opinion of the participant, 1 or 2 participants. So that will be also help us if there is any lacuna, anything is shortcoming, so we can improve, or if anything is good, so that we can understand. So 1 or 2 participants maybe share on the any 1 or 2. Professor Rana PBC.
Participants, please raise your hand so we can give you permission.
Ajay, unmute the Professor Rana PBC.
So they can unmute themselves. Setting has been changed.
Okay.
A very important issue I would like to just continue what Professor K has already mentioned. It is a very serious matter, let me say, at this level. Already 100 years of International Geographical Union Congress going to be held in Paris next year, that is 18 to 22nd of July. Okay. Now, after the death of R.B. Singh, my younger brother, who was a Secretary General, now the very difficult situation now arose what to do to represent Indian production there. Because every year, 4th year, we generally release progress in geography. So whatever Professor Day has said, that to be linked, and somebody can take lead, maybe IIG or Professor Jayabhayaji can take lead, that project, that progress in geography linked with that thought orientation, a book to be released, and that to be released in the Paris Congress. So that will be a great contribution, maybe through the IIG, that here is a presentation of it. Second thing, already before about 2 months before his death, we have prepared 4 chapters, 2 times revised editions made. It is already lying, and whatever then new format will be prepared, we will submit. 2 of the papers jointly by R.B. Singh and myself. One is Incredible India, and there is Geography and Tourism, something like that. That what trends have been. Generally, that volume reviews recent trends. So that's now become not 4 years, that become now 6 years. Because that was a gap, 2 years gap, 6 years. So that idea to be kept in mind, and that thought to be taken very serious, that how at international forum, now we can present, here is Indian geography. Thank you very much.
Yes, sir. I think I thank Professor RSS Ravi Singh, who is no more with us. He has started the task, I think, and he had written to many universities to collect the data.
Yeah.
I think this may be with you also, these documents.
So whatever I have, I will just submit to you. That is already in MS Word and already PDF well edited. So 2 times edited, prepared. Whatever format may be, I am always to you to serve. This is a token of service and memory to the footprints of my younger brother.
Yes.
Good. This is a very good idea. Sir, you are talking about the 100 years of geography in India or international level? What you are talking about?
In India, sir.
In India.
In India.
3-4 years.
Yes. Because, sir, there are different school of geographical thoughts, so go through different books.
but we do not find any Indian school of geographical thought till today, although many geographers worked on different fields. So if we can integrate them, we can prepare that one.
Very good. This is
this is Indian, purely Indian.
Sir, I also, I congratulate Professor Jaibai for organizing this wonderful event, collecting all the people, all corners of India. And my special thanks to his team. And you have done a very good job. And then I join with both Singh and then Sunil sir. Yes, there is a need to compile this 100 years of Indian geography and how it has gone from scratch to this level, etc. And then how there is sometimes there is a direction loss in geographical thought in India. It all depends upon, as you know very well, in the last 20 years, I feel is one way it is a very good thing. Another way I feel is very sad that we are deviating from the conceptual understanding of geography to more of technology, and that also only secondary data without understanding its scale concepts. So people are applying and doing things like that. I had a very sad experience in one time. I was listening to a great person. He is saying about this borewell selection based on some map. Then I asked what is the scale of the map. He was blinking. Then I said, your map is 1:50,000 scale map, and your data is this Landsat 5 or 6, where the resolution is very poor. How can you search the borewell in a village? So that can stand anywhere else. So this is a very sad state. So remember, the technology is most misused in India rather than anywhere else, and then we don't have direction to go with the use of the technology. This is one. Therefore, as they have rightly pointed out, there is need for 100 years. More than that, Professor Mishra has said pre 100 years. Those we have a lot of texts. Those texts are mostly looks like religious and Sanskrit texts or the Indian classical text, where you can unearth geography. For example, in Tamil, there is one Tolkapiyam. There all the flowers, around 70 flowers and their places are listed. Geographic places are listed. Like that, you can have a team of people working on that, and then from our text where we can get geography. I think IIG can initiate, and IIG is doing a tremendous work. I really appreciate all of you. Thank you.
Sir, may I say something? Sir, can I say something? My request to Jaibai, sir.
Okay, ma'am.
Actually, before 10 years, Dr. Kar have worked on this kind of issues. He compiled some data, how much work geographers did from last 10 years or 25 years he took. So while doing this, we should take his concern also. This is my request.
Okay,
thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Okay, one thing I just wanted to mention about the generally we have the governing council meeting and general body meeting during the IIG meet, but this time to the schedule and kind of thing, and there were the things to be discussed on a platform. We thought we'll organize one function. We'll invite all the members. Obviously, we are planning in November or maybe first half of the December, and maybe half-day function we'll organize. We'll invite some eminent geographer and important theme and issues about to be discussed, and then in the afternoon we'll have a governing council and then general body meeting on online platforms. So this is just I want to mention. Another thing, those who have presented here the papers, soon they will get the e-certificate. So over to you, Nasasana.
Thank you, sir. May I request any young geographer to present your views on this platform? Actually, the beauty of this conference, we do have many senior and junior geographer on one platform, and it's a great experience of learning and teaching over here. And anybody can join from anywhere. So the beauty lies in this. So we do have a great exchange of ideas and learning experience all together in this conference.
Sorry, Jay, one point I missed. I will make it short.
Yeah.
See, you have the oral presentation like that, etc. All over the world now, poster presentation through digital media is promoted. And there are only very few universities implementing that in India. We in the Indian Geographical Society, experimentally last time we conducted, only very few people responded. We thought that we will do it once again broad-based. So I request that IIG can think about the new methods of presentation, because this media is now, because you see you have simultaneously so many sessions, etc. When I wanted to listen some other thing, I missed a lot. If it is in the poster, maybe I will look at it. This is my request. Thank you.
Yes, sir, yes, definitely.
This is a very important task.
Yeah.
In India, we think that if we display our presentation in poster, we do not give the weightage, but they organize these competitions, and more than 2/3 of the presentations are displayed in these posters in European Geosciences Union. If you go, 10,000 posters, just imagine. So
I
we
think
can promote that one.
Kshitija Pisar is there. Yes, Kshitija, you want to say something?
Yes, sir. Good evening to all. I am student of MSc Geoinformatics SPPU, and I want to thank all of the dignitaries and our respected HOD sir for giving us this opportunity. That's all. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Kshitija.
So I think Sasane Madam Dikshit sir is there, so you can invite the Dikshit.
Yeah, so with a great pleasure and great honor, I would like to request Professor Dikshit sir to share your views on this occasion.
I would like to request.
Hello.
Yes, sir, you are audible.
Has the chief guest left?
Sir, I will just
Professor Umrani, and they have left?
No, sir, I will just check.
Huh?
He left, sir.
Okay, so I don't have to address them. I just want to know, I mean, that's all. Okay, okay, fine.
Professor Dikshit, we are eagerly waiting to listen something from you.
Hello.
Yes, sir. Professor Dikshit, we are eagerly waiting to listen something from you.
Yes, okay. Professor Kaul, the president of the IIG, Professor Javai, Secretary General of the IIG, many distinguished people I see on the screen, who teach Professor Rana P.V. Singh, such a close friend of mine, and Shri Rao, Shamkant Rao, I don't need to know because he is a young geographer, Dr. Sasani, and who is there? And Zatade, and many others, and the members of the audience. I think this is the concluding function of the valedictory, or it is it's a committee meeting. I don't know. It's a concluding function of valedictory.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. See, I would like to say that it has been the most gratifying experience to participate in this 3 days conference. In fact, I, for my own, in my life, would never imagine that it's possible to organize a conference of all the things through video conferencing, online, or so on and so forth. I'm a great advocate of classroom teaching, interactive teaching, and I don't enjoy really online speaking or online interaction. This being so, I have been associated with this right from the beginning of the conference, from the inauguration, presentation of some papers, then lectures, panel discussions, and so on and so forth. Everything is done well, meticulously organized. The notifications are wonderful. And the way it has been circulated is also remarkable. There is no equal to it. I must say that I hadn't seen such an organization earlier, also because I didn't have the experience of this kind. But to me, frankly, and excuse me, it is not quite the same as meeting a large number of people at the same time, seeing the crowd, speaking in a hall full of audience, some humorous moments, having tea together. That opportunity is denied. This is as much true of a conference as it is true of schooling. Now, I was listening to someone that this has opened new vista of teaching and so on and so forth. No, classroom teaching, schooling is very, very important. Very, very important means when anyone goes to school or to the university, it's a different atmosphere altogether. It is not just that you attend the class lectures, you go to the laboratory and perform experiments, or you just understand, imagine, remember, and reproduce in the examination and pass the examination. No, it is very different. In this schooling is a very different kind. It is where you learn to bond. You learn to make friends. There are occasions, there are matches.
Sir, voice is not clear. I think.
All around.
Network problem.
And you are proud of this is my school. I have been to this school. I have been to town, but it's very, very important. Did someone say something? Different from teaching.
It's okay,
and
sir.
So is the case, despite the pardon?
कुछ नहीं सर, थोड़ा वॉइस में ब्रेक हुआ था, but it's okay now, sir.
Okay. Despite the wonderful organization of Mr. Jai, he spared no trouble. It is not the same as the 3-day conference used to have annually. This is very, very different experience. And I tell you, this kind of experience cannot be captured in online. This is my personal belief because I'm an old timer. Now, one more thing I have noticed, and that is very remarkable. We had some hiccups. Sometimes the computer has not worked, sometimes it is not adjusted, sometimes we have not. These are minor things. But what is most important is we have this year a theme which is very unique. So far, we have been having a focal theme. Focal theme is, we'll say, the floods, or the urban slums, or river terraces, or mountain plain interaction, things like that we have been having. Or sometimes, occasionally, sustainable development. Now, this time we have given a large canvas: geography, planet, prosperity, people, prosperity, and peace. So, I mean, one has to look at it, the advantage of it. I haven't digested so much. I have to think over it, whether it's good to have such broad canvas for everyone to participate and say something. The only thing I could not quite understand the spirit of it, because we talk at different wavelengths. Professor Sivathyanam talk differently, Professor Kaur talk differently, someone talk differently, I talk differently. Maybe this diverse, or Professor Rana P.V. Singh talk differently. Maybe this diverse approach is what is intended. I really do not know. But the focal theme as it is, this was very, very broad, well designed though, lot of scope for individuals to sort of, say something, put one's views. The only thing missing in all these, whether it is panel discussion or whether it is plenary session or whether the regular session or the discussion. We had a wonderful lecture by a German called, by Russian called Panin, or I'm sorry if I don't pronounce it correctly. He was talking about the burst lake glacial, lake burst floods. And well stated, but we never had the chance to discuss what it is and how it happens and what is the future course, where in view of the fact that the global warming is taking place, is it that we are facing more frequent floods of this kind? We never got time to discuss. Why, whether interaction is possible in this kind of scenario or not, I don't know. But I would have liked to discuss something with different people who are giving lectures and all that. This one thing has not been possible. Secondly, as for the other things, I really do not know. I think Dr. Jabai has a wonderful job. All those speakers who have participated, they may be happy. I'm equally happy because I have heard a lot of people share the experiences. And for all that, I don't know what else to comment. I would like to comment something more, but I have trained it is where people are leading. Now, geography, the Chinese gentleman has come with a new idea. They are publishing journal, Geography and Sustainability. I did not know they are publishing journal. They have just brought out the first issue, in which most of the authors, if I read quickly, are the Chinese. Maybe they think that this kind of journal is sustainable. Now, sustainability is such a well-known, I mean, for the last 20, 30 years, after our Common Future publication, we know sustainable means use of resources in such a way that we leave something for posterity. Now, this is a known fact, but it's a many dimension. It has biological dimension, biodiversity, resources, education, many things. Now, if such a journal is sort of sustainable and available, we have a journal, many journals in geography. We have journal on human geography. We have journal on historical geography. We have journal on geomorphology. Maybe we can still think of journals like this, sustainability, or some where perhaps a specialized research could be done. But this is a very encouraging science. They are the members of the commission of the IVU, and they are doing, maybe in India, Dr. Day may be knowing, I can see his face. There may be commissions of the IGU of which, some Indians may be chairman and the secretary, they can initiate. I have heard people talk about 100 years of geography. I mean, this is something which I remember because I read in our journal, Historical Geography, Approach to Geography by Professor Sarfaraz. And he said geography was started in 1924 in Aligarh. And I was giving a lecture at Patna, not lecture, presiding over some, Patna people have a series called Makers are Founders of Indian Geography or something. And then I said, oh, lo and behold, we are 100-year-old. So I think many people are talking. It is a very good idea to bring out, to have the conference and to bring out some volumes. I would request Professor Jai and Professor Sunil together to have a small meeting or have a small webinar or something. What can do? You can have asked for suggestions from different individuals, professor, experienced people, what should be done. Though I have suggested that we should have a conference where at least we should invite people from at least Commonwealth countries. I'm sorry, SAARC countries. We can invite people from Pakistan, Bangladesh, Nepal, Sri Lanka, Maldives. I mean, Nepal, whosoever is coming. So we can have a gather mass and we can think, because after all, they were part of India, at least not Nepal, but Pakistan, Bangladesh were part of India when the geography was started in 1924. So they carry the legacy of Aligarh as much as we do. And therefore, we can celebrate together. Now, my idea then was that we should have 4 volumes. It is no point talking at this stage. Maybe we can talk sometime later. We are thinking of progress of geography of different branches, one thing. Then we are thinking of periodic progress, like early 20th century, mid 20th century, late 20th century, and contemporary. So what has happened in those periods? We are thinking of biological, or let us say, of a volume, not biological, but let's say biographical, where you can think of all the great geographers that India had, or those who were associated with geography, like, Professor Chatterjee or Professor Kurian, or many others. I don't want to mention the name, and for every individual, you can get about a couple of pages. So if you have 200, you can have 100 geographers covered. It will be only for those geographers who are no longer with us. This could be a fourth volume. I was thinking of an atlas, which I don't know whether it's possible, but you can think of many more things. It's modification, how well it could be done. But I certainly appeal to all of you who are listening, and particularly to Professor Jayabhai and Professor Dev, to think of having a small, not a seminar, maybe half a day or 1 day seminar, and invite a lot of people to contribute their viewpoints and see something solid emerge, because 22 is very close. Professor Rana PVC is listening, he certainly will contribute. So you can all think of it. The venue and other things I'm not talking about. You can do many more things. You can bring out a dictionary. I mean, what all you will do, or a directory, and many things you do. But maybe you can have 1 or 2 preliminary meetings or webinar where you invite people, let them have suggestions, something concrete might emerge. Then you can make a initial organizing committee final, and then you can decide which place will be good, or a couple of places are good, who will be the person who will be sort of organizing. I mean, details you can work out. This is my sincere hope, and I think Professor Day has opened this topic, and Professor Jayabhai has opened. I'm very grateful to them. This is one thing. Finally, I mean, without being tired, I want to repeatedly thank Professor Jayabhai, all the professors and the faculty members of Geography Department, the University of Pune as it is. They have been very cooperative with clock, like precision, whether it's Professor Dode or Professor Desi, Dr. Professor Meena Joshi, and other members of the faculty. I can see Mrs. Sasani here, her face appearing on the screen, and many others. They have all cooperated, and they have all really lent support to this conducting this 3-day conference. I feel very happy, gratified in this period of Corona, and this period of people are not moving. Dr. Jayabhai could pull it through in the sense that he can get people from all over the world. This is the first time we have so many occasion to listen to a Greek, to a Russian, to a Pole, to a Chinese, to a Japanese, and many more. And this is really wonderful. Maybe in future conferences, if you are not able to pay their expenses, travel expenses, you can request them. We can have one session like that, a half session day like that, where you can bunch all these foreign people who are not able to support financially. If they cannot come, then let them talk to us. I mean, modality you can work out. How will you do? I don't know. I feel very happy, gratified, satisfied. I thank all of you who very enthusiastically participated. And my final thanks all to go to university, Mr. Jayabhai, all the professors, the faculty members of the department, and I hope, and even those who are engaged in publishing the journal, they will keep the tradition and the things going as they are going today. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much, sir. Professor K. Dixit, sir. Actually, we do have a great legacy of our department. Professor K. Dixit, Professor Kale sir, Professor Jog sir, Professor Devastri ma'am, Professor Gadge ma'am, Professor Date sir, and so on. You are the real pillar and the real strength of our department of geography, and I'm really proud of you, sir. I really have hats off to you for your enthusiasm and the love towards the growth and the development of the subject of geography. So thank you so much for your valuable inputs and your word of wisdom over here. Thank you, sir. Now, actually, it's a very emotional moment. Before that, I can say, गुजरता हुआ वक्त गुजर जाएगा, गुजरता हुआ वक्त गुजर जाएगा, अगर कुछ पास रहेगा तो बरसों बाद भी याद रह जाएगा। अगर कुछ पास रह जाएगा तो वो बरसों बाद भी याद रह जाएगा, तो वह होगा इन हसीन दिनों का कोई रोशन सा लम्हा। So thank you all. So we are like a butterflies, and we are so colorful and so light, and means like a butterfly. We also have to always go for the sweetness only. Means positive atmosphere can create a positive attitude, and so we can conserve our energy for the good cause. So we have to take care of inner our health as well as our surrounding, our environment. And thus we have to make this place or the world better for us as well as for our future generation. So this is the last day, but I won't say bye to all of you, causing this Indian Institute of Geographer, IIG, is your platform only. So you all are the part of this institute. So I'm very excited to meet you all in the next conference with this love, this passion, and this enthusiasm. On a physical mode, of course. So I extend my very sincere thanks to all these eminent geographers and all dignitaries who were present here. And I would like to give the stage, virtual stage, to the Professor Pardeshi now to propose vote of thanks. So may I request Professor Pardeshi, sir?
Yes, thank you, Dr. Sapna. Good evening to all of you. As we know, geography for people, planet, prosperity, and peace was the theme of 3 days deliberation in the form of 42nd IIG Meet and an international e-conference. On the basis of overwhelming response and feedback received from the participants and resource persons, it won't be an overstatement to say that the conference was a grand success. There were many people behind the success of this conference, as it is mentioned by Professor Jaibhai already, and also by Professor Dixit. I would be very happy to mention them all, but due to time limit, it is not possible to mention all the individuals. So please forgive me if unknowingly we miss any name. First of all, on behalf of the Department of Geography, Savitribai Phule University, and organizing committee, I would like to extend my sincere gratitude towards all the persistent participants without whom this conference would have not been successful. My sincere thanks to Honorable Vice Chancellor of Savitribai Phule University, Professor Nitin Karmalkar, for sparing his valuable time and guiding us. Besides this, on behalf of the Department of Geography, I would like to thank Professor N.S. Umrani, Pro Vice Chancellor, Savitribai Phule University, Mr. Satish Khandare, Inspector General of Police, Ladakh Union Territory, Professor K.R. Dixit, Professor M.N. Kaul, who are present online for today's valedictory function, and of course, our own Professor R.J. Jaibai for leading the whole event of conference. And also Professor Andre Panin, who accepted our invitation and shared his valuable thoughts with us. I would like to thank Dr. Shri Kumar Chattopadhyay, Professor R.B. Bhagat for chairing keynote address sessions, Professor Nikki Evel Pidau, Professor D.K. Naik for delivering keynote addresses. We are thankful to all the panelists, namely Professor H.S. Sharma, Professor S.R. Jog, Professor H.N. Mishra, Professor Rana P.B. Singh, Professor Shivagnanam, Professor Venu Chao, for sparing their valuable time to enrich our knowledge of geography. I would also like to extend our sincere gratitude towards all the speakers of 8 plenary sessions for sharing their views. We are thankful to all individuals for giving lead lectures and chairing sessions. On behalf of the Department of Geography, I would like to thank all the authorities of Savitribai Phule University and Indian Institute of Geographers for the support we received to hold this conference. And the last but most important part of this conference is our faculty members and office staff who took lots of efforts in preparation to contact and to overcome technical glitches and in making this conference successful. With these few words of appreciation, I would like to end the formal note of thanks with a Sanskrit shloka that perfectly fits to our conference theme, that is Lokaha Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu, meaning let the entire world be happy. Thank you all for being with us. Thank you very much. Over to Sasani madam.
Sir, with the permission of chair, may I request Professor Jai sir what to do next?
Yeah, I think, okay, you just announce the.
We can conclude the session now?
Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you all. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
For gracing this occasion.
Yeah, thanks to.
Thank you, Jai Bhai and the team. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you. Sasani. Yeah.
Yeah, thanks a lot, sir.
Yeah. For everybody,
Namaskar.
big
Namaskar.
thanks. Thank you.
Thank you so
Namaskar,
much for
namaskar.
your
Thank you so
overwhelming response, sir. Thank
भाई
you.
उनका नाम जय है तो सबकी ग्रेट विक्ट्री जय भाई सबके भाई भी हैं सबको जय जयकार भी है रविंद्र है तो रविंद्र संगीत भी सुना रहे हैं अब क्या चाहिए भाई
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
It was really a wonderful session.
Thank you very much.